This is what happens. You get a rowdy audience when you make them wait a few minutes. That's not bad. Not bad. Guys, outstanding show for you guys tonight. Very excited. Starting the weekend off on the right foot. It's going to be a great show. Guys, before we get started, please take a second, will you? Go ahead and tweet this out. Let everybody that follows you, let them know where you're at. Let them know you're at CrossFire, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, Friday nights. We've got a lot of news to talk about tonight. We will discuss a few things with some of the games that made some of the news this week, but this week is really going to be about a lot of the big news articles that broke. And as you can see, today was just on fire on Twitter. It was on fire on YouTube. We've got a great panel assembled for you guys. I see all you guys out there. By the way, the great Percolator 9000, he says basically here, I'm here. You can start now. Hello, chat. Shout out to Percolator. I appreciate that. Guys, speaking of Percolator, right down there above the description is the join button. And if you could very so graciously consider at one point or another hitting that join button and becoming part of the Mooch Maniac family members, it means the world to me. I am actually in the process of doing something for our VIP Mooch Maniacs, which I will be discussing not too far, probably about 2-3 weeks out from now. I will have something to give the VIP Mooch Maniac members for being here, and every new VIP Mooch Maniac member will be getting this gift as well. It is going to be fantastic. I will illustrate it. You will see plenty of it. That being said, let me call these folks out one by one because I appreciate you all so much. The great Sir X-Man, JudaZuk, WoolleyGamer, Ben Link, Failed Pyromancer, Frostbite Slash, Zombilla Ice Cream, CustodsX, Hustle and Motivate, AceJunky, Two-Tone SB, Replicant, Damion, JWE316, Rumble... My fault. MumbleRanting Gaming, Tyson Web 509, Mr. Twister, All-Round Gamer, TrueWiddy, and DeathSkry. Our major Mooch Maniacs, Bryant Carter, Tactical Gamer, DatGuySmitty, HumaCast, Ice Queen Gaming, The Wise Old Gamer, 4-Star General, Sean Slomka, Brian B, a.k.a. Delirium Blades, and our VIP Mooch Maniacs, Windingo Rex, Forkboy Gaming, Darkside 80, MexJ 88, Remarkable Knights, Rich Kreischer, Rated D Demonic, The Great Percolator 9000, and our honorable mentions, Rate the Emperor, We Miss You, Alex Brett, Director Productions, The Great Wilmy Hood, and the Forever Mooch Maniac, Longshot 316, and another fantastic super chat by Rated D Demonic, one of our VIP Mooch Maniacs. Super chat works great. It just stole $5 from me. Mooch, love you. All the best of the panel. Here's to another great show. And guys, we are going to have a great show. That I can guarantee you. That being said, let's get to this panel and let's get to our topics. I made you guys wait long enough. The man is here. The man is a little late. He's in the green room. He only takes the purple M&Ms now because it's the color on the channel. The great Crap Gamer Crap. Welcome to the show tonight, buddy. I can't wait to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, you know, I'm a bitch, man. I like my my M&Ms a certain way. It's just that's the way it is. When it's not right, I gotta make it right before I go on air. That's
hey,
in my rider.
Listen, we want you on the show, so whatever you got, that's right. Yeah. We have to fulfill those requests, Crap. It's just the way it is. That's just doing business. So it's great to have you here, buddy.
Hey, it's a bit. It used to be I would get all the news days back in the day. Now
I know
like you get a lot of the
Friday breaking news. Well, crap! How weird is that? Oh, Tuesdays used to be game releases. Now they're Friday.
Exactly. I mean, listen.
What happened?
It's funny because Jason hiding outside those Sony studios.
He is.
Hey, who's disgruntled? Tell me. You know, that's basically Jason Schreier. Like that's his thing, man.
Free lemonade for the disgruntled.
Yeah, like if you get a okay, picture this: you're at a Sony studio, you're two people talking at a water cooler.
Yes,
you know there's a window, the window's open.
Yes,
you start mentioning that you got to work long hours, and then you hear a rustling outside the window. What was that? It's Jason.
It is.
You always got it, but not that Jason. Jason Schreier.
Yes, not that Jason. That's great.
Exactly. So yeah, there's a lot to say, and I'm excited to say it. So let's get going.
I didn't think we'd get a great Friday the 13th reference in there, but outstanding. Oh yeah, outstanding. And then listen, guys, you think he's earned his money before? No. This man gets 6 figures from Redmond, and he's going to need every single zero on the check. The great Xbox defense lawyer is here tonight. Xbot448. Xbot, how you doing tonight, buddy?
Oh my goodness. 6 figures, huh?
Well, you're a lawyer. I would hope so.
I need to check my bank account for that. But, yo, what's going on, Mooch? What is up, panel? And, of course, what is going on to the chat? Yo, guys, I want to give a huge shout out to Mr. Tight T-Shirt himself. Oh man, I just forgot his name. Sean Layden.
Yes.
Sean Layden.
Yes.
For predicting things before he left Sony. So shout out to him. I know we're going to get into it. A lot of cool topics tonight, man. Let's go.
I'm very excited about that as well. And then I've got he's not a usual, but you know what? He's in the usual. The Great Basement Radio Arcade Podcast is back. And let me tell you something. Me and Brap have been talking a bit on and off the past 2 days. And he is extremely opinionated about tonight's subjects. And I can't wait to bring up an old topic that me and Brap talked about years ago tonight. It'll be fun. Brap, how you doing tonight, buddy?
I'm doing great, man. Yeah, definitely a lot to talk about. It's gonna be a great show, great panel, and big shout out to everyone in the live chat. Please smash that like button, and
please,
yeah, Mooch. I can't wait to get into the topics because you and I were talking. We did like a pre-Crossfire thing around 5 o'clock. So looking forward to talking about the whole Sony stuff. So
that's going to be great, Brett. I appreciate you being here. And then this is a gentleman that I just had to have on the show, and it was funny because I asked him before the news broke today about the article with Bloomberg and all of that great stuff. But I needed to get somebody on here that really could break down the consensus of how a PlayStation fan kind of feels before, during, and after as we go through this generation, leaving last generation. There's no better than this man right here. Literally speaks from the heart. The great Jay Bari is back. Jay, welcome back to the show, buddy. How are you tonight?
Yo, what's good, man? I am good, man. I'm calm.
Yes.
I'm in my zen.
Absolutely.
I drunk my tea. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm pretty good, man. I appreciate the invite and can't wait to talk about all the topics that we have here.
Jay just sounded like he was telling himself that, like, I'm calm.
Yes,
I'm calm. I drink my tea.
Absolutely. You hit it right on the nail.
He said, he's got his tea. He's got incense. He is ready to go. He's very calm. He's in his zen. I like that.
Let's talk about it, Jay.
Let's talk about this, Jay. Jay, let's talk about this.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about it, man. I got the oils too, man. Everybody wants some oils.
Yeah,
calm me down.
Bro. I appreciate it.
We got the PlayStation oils over here.
I've got chamomile tea right now. I'm sipping it.
Oh yeah,
nice.
You're a tea man. I noticed that.
Yes.
That'll put you to sleep. Be careful with the chamomile. Yes, that's tough.
Bari, do you have the fragrance?
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. PlayStation fragrance all over. I spray it every morning.
He doesn't want that stench on him, as he always says. Yes. The
greatness.
Speaking of that, I do have a phenomenal person here with us tonight. The great Nova Insomniac. Nova are part 3 of the M&C show that we do in the morning. So shout out to Nova. Nova, outstanding to have you back on the show, buddy. And there's no better night than tonight to hear what you have to say on the upcoming topics. Buddy, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on, Mooch, as always, and good to see the fellow panel members. Yeah, man, I'm super excited to get into topics tonight. It's always a great time to be on Crossfire. Also, RP DMX.
Yes, absolutely. No, I'm glad you kind of brought that up. That was, and it was interesting because last night they were saying that they had to do a press release to say, keep him in prayers and keep his strength up. So the news today was definitely saddening. No, you're 100% right, Nova. But I got my buddy here. I got a guy here from Texas, man. And, they do everything big in Texas, apparently. The great Dreamcast guy is back. And, DC, you did a rant today like no other. I hope that we get even just half of that excitement on the show tonight. DC, welcome back to the show. How are you tonight?
Oh, yeehaw, howdy. Just here to be a fellow Texan. Yeah, man, I did not mean to bring so much fire to that video this morning, but... I think as a big PlayStation fan, as somebody who definitely was, I think the PlayStation 4 is one of my favorite consoles of all time. I'm confused by the beginning of the PlayStation 5. Today's news, I can't really say it's negative because obviously, none of these games were coming out for years anyways, but there's a lot to talk about.
Well, let me do this then. Let's just start right there. DC, I'll start with you, and then I want to definitely hit up Jay Bari and Crap because I know that these guys have been sounding off all day online as well. DC, let's start with your rant and what you kind of went into here. I mean, we've got the Bloomberg article by Jason Schreier came out earlier today, and it's diving into some of the problems, and I'm using these in air quotes because everyone's kind of changed and manipulated the words a little bit here and there and taking some of the things we've heard about one studio and it's bleeding into, oh my God, could that happen to a lot of different things? And is the creative freedoms going to go away? So we've heard all about this, about what's going on in the internal problems at Sony, possibly, right? So I want to know, are these claims legitimate concerns to you, DC? And if they are, which ones of the hundreds we're hearing pulled out of a hat today are ones that we should probably focus in on?
The thing that gets me the most is it's the 1-2 punch. It's hearing about the death of Days Gone. And specifically, I'm actually not a big fan of Days Gone 1. I thought that Days Gone 1 was not an interesting game. It just was kind of bland to me. But I thought that Days Gone 2, the idea of it had a lot of potential. So the thought of the fact that Sony created this new IP, they were going to try a different direction of zombie games. Like they're going to try and have their own series. The fact that they canned that. And then right after the whole Sony Studios Japan getting closed down, the Gravity Rush people, like that 1-2 punch is why it hit me, is the idea of like really weird, quirky games like Gravity Rush, or just things that are a big open world motorcycle zombie game like Days Gone. Like the idea of these projects just not having a home at Sony, maybe. I don't know. That's what got me the most, is just the idea that this is not quite the Sony I would hope it would be.
Yeah, I mean, and Jay, shout out to Jay Bar. Jay, what do you think, Jay? I mean, was this something that like, I kind of, and I think I'm giving you a top level intro into this. If you want to kind of dial it back and get into what we were talking about just before the show started, into where we are now with hearing things like what's going on with Days Gone, etc. Like, do you think that this is a reoccurring issue that could develop throughout the generation, or no, we should maybe pump the brakes, everybody take a deep breath, and just realize that this is how business is conducted? Well, I mean, Xbox, you chuckle, but, Xbox has been doing this same and oops and had internal issues.
We're not talking about Xbox. How did you all of a sudden flip it over to Xbox? We're talking about
Well, I would assume that's where the chuckling comes in from.
I'm chuckling
okay.
because first off,
Yes.
Sean Layden, before he left, he said it's going to be about fewer exclusives and it's going to be about the quality. Now, so when I heard people like trying to say in 2021 all these games are going to be coming out and stuff like that, I thought back to what Sean Layden said, and he might not have agreed with what was going on, but he kind of like put it out there, and I still believe Sony's doing that. So like to see news like this and people kind of freak out is, well, if you were listening to people that were coming out before time, and then you saw kind of like the change of the guard, and you saw what Jim Ryan's been up to and stuff like that. I mean, it's not really that surprising what's going on right now, if you think about it, man.
Well, I mean, Jay, what do you think about that? Combine actually what Xbox saying into my top level question. You think does that hold water?
I mean, Sean Layden did say that they were going to focus on quality rather than, quantity with the exclusive games that PlayStation are doing. I don't think that doesn't mean that, I don't know what games he's talking about in 2021. It could be third party exclusive, second party. I don't know. I don't know what his where he got that from, but I can see where he's coming from. But at the end of the day, with this whole situation, I'm kind of inclined with like Dreamcast guy, is that it was a lead up for me. Like I don't know, the things that I'm going to say, a lot of people is going to be too cool for school and not mention and don't talk about, because as long as they're getting the good games, they're not going to say these things. But like for me, like I love the brand PlayStation, and I love PlayStation a lot because of what they offer, the variety of games that they offer. I don't want PlayStation to succumb to something where they're just going to pump out the same type of games because they're successful and that's what business does. I really don't give a damn about that stuff. As a selfish gamer, I want what, the things that I like, regardless of how good the business is. I get those aspects and those talks. We're in a podcast, we talk about those things, but at the end of the day, it's what I like from why I became a fan of PlayStation. But it led up because there's a lot of things I didn't like what PlayStation's doing. The marketing, I felt like they're doing these lackluster marketing stuff. Okay. Announcing VR announcement, that was horrible. Right. The Jade Raymond crap. I didn't want to read her diary. In the last paragraph, you tell me that you're creating a game that you don't have a title, you have nothing. You know what I mean? Like things like that. Okay. You wasn't getting that with PS4. They was taking a risk like, hey, Horizon Zero Dawn, it's coming out in like 2 or 3 years, but here's what Aloy can do and give you detail on it. So I love that stuff leading up to the actual release. They're not really doing that anymore. Look at Horizon Forbidden West. We got a cinematic trailer. The game is quote unquote supposed to be coming out this year, but we don't know.
Some of that trailer was actually in game, by the way, at least in engine. From what I saw from it, like I'm expecting that game to look like what we saw.
Yeah, but that's we should see that. Like when they announced Horizon 1, we got gameplay day one, the first reveal. Yeah, we saw the cinematic trailer.
Well, Jay, can I ask you a question, Jay? Do you think that both of these companies are now starting to play things a little bit closer to the chest? Your point with Horizon's very valid. We're also the same distance away from Halo Infinite. We haven't seen anything. So maybe both companies are like, you know what? When we reveal things, all we ever get is we get shit on for what we reveal.
Yeah.
Do you think maybe that's a new strategic plan from these companies?
I would say Xbox is maybe not for like this year, 2021 or whatnot, but with them kind of coming out and showing, at least kind of like that teaser for Hellblade 2 and Forza Motorsport and stuff like that. I think because Phil was absolutely adamant about 12 to 18 months. Like, we're not showing anything unless it's 12 to 18 months from actually being out there in their hands. And me and Crap Gamer, that's one of the few things that we agreed on. We're like, dude, you gotta tease people. You gotta let people know there's a future on the platform or whatnot. And I think that Xbox is actually turning that corner and starting to show more, where Sony and PlayStation are kind of like taking the left turn and kind of possibly bringing it back some. You know what I'm saying?
Although I want to point out, Microsoft hasn't actually shown anything. They've shown zero gameplay on the Xbox Series X of anything new coming out. Zero.
They did a lot more than what they were doing before all that.
They showed some CGI, so that's great. But
you can just agree with me, Crap. It's okay.
I'm letting you know. But as for today's news,
Crap, are you any dinner?
Yeah, Crap.
I am. Just as for today's news, it was a little bit of a mixed bag. I think really the only negative thing, as far as I could tell, was the Days Gone thing. Like, I was under the impression that Days Gone 2 was under production since 2019, meaning we probably would have got a sequel in like a 2-year time period, right? Probably ready to show it off. And yeah, exactly. Like, they were hiring for it. Like, everything was hinting that they were going to get a sequel to that. Not only that, but according to this article, it looks like it, due to critical problems, like the lack of critical success, that they didn't want to do a sequel. Like, to me, that's Sony's fault to begin with. They sent out the game without a day one patch 2 weeks early, and reviewers had to review a broken game. That's not the game that we got day one.
Facts.
And I've said that numerous times.
Giving it a bad score.
Wow,
I killed Days Gone 2
under the bus, man.
Well,
it's
no,
so
they sent it
from when the game first came out, though. I swear, yo.
They sent it out. No, you can look it up. They sent it out 2 weeks before launch.
But I'm going by like what you said or what Mooch, when the game first came out and stuff, like, it's gonna be patched. Don't worry about it. Never really throwing the developer under the bus, but now.
Hey, let's just be real.
Like, the developer.
I've said this once you find out what happened, you look at it and you go, okay, well, that's Sony's fault. You know what I mean? You have a developer in Bend that hadn't made a AAA console game in over 20 years. Hell of an effort. You think you're going to get a sequel because that game was the number 7 best-selling.
I thought the game deserved a sequel, to be really honest with you.
The number 7 best-selling PlayStation 4 exclusive.
They set up for a sequel. Look how
when a new IP comes out, like guys, correct me if I'm wrong here, panel. Like, as long as it sparks a general interest and gets people talking about it, gets people playing the game, gets people like thinking about the future of that game, like future sequels and stuff like that. Kind of like Sunset Overdrive on Xbox. I thought that game wholeheartedly deserved a sequel. I was like, the only thing that was missing with that was online co-op, not that little, branched off co-op thing, but really get your friends in to play the game with you. Co-op. I was like, if they come out with Sunset Overdrive 2, it's really gonna hit the ground running. And I feel like with Days Gone, they could have done the same thing with that.
They could have done good, but let's not forget the fact that they are, in fact, starting on a new AAA IP, which new IP can be good too. So I'm interested to see sort of where that goes. And it's not just all that, but we did get some interesting information about what's actually on the horizon from Sony as it is. And it's like Naughty Dog seems to have their hand in a little bit of everything. It looks like they're making a Last of Us remake, factions multiplayer. Those two things seem like they're probably about done because Bend Studios was split into two teams and was working on both those things, helping out. Now they're working on their own thing. A new Uncharted game and a new AAA IP is in the works from Naughty Dog. You also have God of War Ragnarok, and they're also working on a new AAA IP. You have Polyphony Digital working on Gran Turismo 7 and the Gran Turismo Open World, more arcade racer, Sucker Punch. Due to LinkedIn stuff,
hold on. Studios can work on multiple like AAA games at once. Crap?
You have, like they believe in their top tier studios to do that. Sucker Punch is working on Ghost of Tsushima 2. Insomniac, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. Yeah,
it sounds great, but it still puts a bad precedence.
get
in the
I
industry
get
for-
it. I get it.
That's
Trust
for
me.
smaller
You're talking-
developers too. Like if they hearing stuff like that, oh, we're not going to focus on small games. You know what I mean? Like who's going to want to work with PlayStation? We've seen a lot of these big indie games that's not even on PlayStation yet. You know what I mean? Among Us,
Yeah.
Hades, it's not on PlayStation.
But we do
Because
see a
of
lot
this
that are
avenue
still.
that PlayStation is going down. I don't think a lot of these smaller devs are like, yo, if your mindset is like this, we're not going to work with you.
But
that's-
they'll eventually come to PlayStation at some point. It's like this happened last generation. A lot of those developers were putting their stuff on PlayStation first and then Xbox last.
Because PlayStation embraced the indie kind of like community while they were working on their first party.
That's
and
true.
From what I'm hearing, they're not doing that this generation.
Yeah.
Isn't that Yoshida's job?
Well, used to what they do is they'd go to game jams where like indie dudes were competing to have like the best, indie games competing against each other, and Sony would just go behind closed doors and pass out PS4 dev kits is basically a way of saying, hey, you already have a good idea, put it on PlayStation first. So that would just make all their production so much cheaper right up front. Stuff like that matters. Now, part of the reason this kind of just crumbles like ashes in my mouth is I'm excited for everything Naughty Dog's doing. I'm glad they're doing it. But here's my thought. Naughty Dog was the quirky underdog for a long time. Like originally when Sony was investing in them, they were making Crash Bandicoot and the weird ass Jack and Daxter.
Right.
Like they start out making the weird, what we would consider now much more AA fun games. And they kept dumping money into them. They kept believing them. They kept trusting them.
Yes.
And they grew into the Naughty Dog we have today. So it does kind of honestly disappoint me. And all you would scare me. It does scare me, the idea of them taking less risk and only betting on the old horses that have already won races.
Yeah,
Well, go ahead, Brad.
I have a couple thoughts, real quick.
Share with us.
Yeah,
Share.
Yeah. Open up.
Grab coffee real quick.
I feel like I should have like a latte with me or something.
Yes.
No.
No, Brad, we can't have a latte. We can't have that.
Yeah, I can't have that.
Yeah,
But
that.
yes, I could see the optics of this. How the optics of this maybe look a little like, wait a minute, like what's going on over there? I get that.
Maybe
You
look
know.
a little. Okay.
No, because they do, because in fairness, we don't know everything that's going on behind closed doors. Like we're not, I hear things, and like I said earlier when I was talking to Mooch and Jay Bari, I've heard that Sony's really they're not really sweating so much. They have a lot of stuff in the pipeline that we're not privy to, that they're pretty confident about. So I think we still don't know what this looks like or what this means in the next, right now, right? I think right now the optics of it is like, oh, okay, with things like MLB The Show going into Game Pass and Microsoft having, some great, publicity per se, Sony on the other hand has been kind of quiet. Like we don't know what they have working on behind the scenes. There's rumors out there now that they have a counterpunch for Game Pass. There was an article that came out today, but we don't know what that is. We know Kojima's in talks with Microsoft.
Enrique, I've been telling you about that for like a year, bro. But
No,
all right,
no,
I gotta get coffee real quick, man.
But what I'm saying is that
Lord.
I understand the optics of this, but I didn't get anything from the article that says that Sony still wouldn't look at a talented studio and say, you know what, we need to pick these guys up. I mean, they are investing. They don't own Jade Redmond's studio, but they are investing in whatever it is she's making. So whatever she's pitched to them,
right, and
clearly is
that's the thing,
resonated with them.
That's the thing.
So
how deep do we look into this article? And also, you have to look at
here's the thing, Mooch,
the sample size of how many people were spoken to. You know what I mean?
I just want to say something, Mooch. If you look at, I'm not doubting Schreier because I
No.
think that he does.
No,
get
he spoke to people. He
information,
got
but-
that information. Yes,
Exactly. But you also have to go. How is it? Was it X people? Well, like, you know what I mean? What happened here? It was like, like who? At what point are they still working for Sony? Are they just pissed off ex-employees? Like, there's always two sides to the coin. And the main thing that I would kind of also say is he painted Naughty Dog to look absolutely horrible, and it turned out a few people worked 45-hour work weeks. The horror of 45-hour work week. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and he made that
Yeah.
out to be like the worst thing in the world, So again, like he sensationalizes things. I get that. I respect that because I do that too. But it's like that's what he does, right? And look, everybody's talking about it. I'm like, personally, I'd love the inside story on 343. maybe he should get in the trash can outside that studio. But for right now,
Dumpster.
for right now, what he's talking about, it's like, look, Sony's still going to deliver these big AAA games. They still have stuff like Returnal on the smaller level that we're getting. They still look like they're getting deals like Kenna. That's you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's first on PlayStation. I mean, it's not like they're not getting
That's
stuff.
the thing I don't understand. I didn't see the 5-alarm fire that everybody was talking about. Like just before the console came out, in DC, we had you on the show before the console came out. Jay, you've been on a number of times as well. We sit there and we're like, I really want to have, right, but think about it. I want to have Ragnarok coming out. We can't wait until we get the next Horizon. We can't wait. So nothing's changed. The only thing we heard so far and don't get me wrong, I Platinum Days going, I'm a sucker for anything zombie apocalypse. I don't care what it is. I'm playing it. But the point of the matter is,
but very long.
Yeah, it was a little bit long in the tooth. Hey, Mooch,
it was a little long.
I was going to say something real quick. Like, you bring up a great point. Like, I didn't see the 5-alarm fire that everyone else saw. Like, people
I
calling
missed
for
something.
Jim Ryan's head. Like, I do agree with like what Dreamcast guys say. Like, yeah, like, it sucks that Japan studio's not going to be around. Like, I love.
I mean, it looks like they're still making Astrobot games. I mean, those are AAA or like
those
huge,
are AAA. But I'm not convinced that they're just going to be. I think obviously they're not going to be probably dumping a lot of resources into like AA or indie games per se, right? Like that's just not going to be their thing. I get that. Indies will probably fill that void, fill that itch for Sony, and I think we're going to see partnerships, and we were seeing it right now with games like Returnal, with Kina,
Forspoken, Ghostwire Tokyo,
Forspoken, Ghostwire Tokyo, Deathloop. They locked down Final Fantasy 16 as an exclusive, so I'm not seeing that 5-alarm fire just yet.
Let me say this too. Let me say this too.
I'm seeing it.
Because hold on, I just want to say this too, though, right? Like, listen, a lot of people go, well, why doesn't Sony do, a big multiplayer games? And we know where they're going to do factions, but their forte isn't big multiplayer games, right? Like, why would you do what's the biggest multiplayer games? It's the third-party stuff. It's the Fortnites, the Apex, the Call of Duties, the Warzones, right? Why would Sony mess with that stuff when what they do is great single-player big AAA experiences, right?
And it's crap. Real quick, crap. To your point, they're the best in the industry at that. What you're describing, those big AAA bangers, they're no one does it at a level and consistently does it. Like, it's not easy to do what they do at a consistent level.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, Crap. I interrupted. Go ahead, Crap.
No, I'm having a fucking hell of a time tonight. I just,
I see the fight. Oh, my bad. Go ahead, Nova. Apologize.
No, I just wanted to say that I agree with Brap and Crap and somewhat Dreamcast guy. I don't really see what the fire alarms are about. We're still getting all the games they promised. We, like Brap said, we're getting all the partnerships. Now, optics wise, it might not look that good, but again, what Crap said, it's Jason Schreier's job to get the dirt, and there's dirt on both sides. There's a lot of things we don't know, so I don't know. I'm taking this with a slight grain of salt. And waiting for the something.
Well, and let me do so. Jay, I want to hear.
Here is not factual too. Like it's still like we got to hear from PlayStation.
Exactly.
It's still there's things in there that is just like, oh wow, how did you get this information? Yeah, he's talking to people within the.
But again, you have to look at the sample size. Is he talking?
PlayStation will tell the
but
truth.
Is he talking to Is he talking to hundreds of people? Is he talking to 10 people? Is he talking to 30? And you have to understand: is he also talking to people that just that got fired recently, or were laid off, or were let go, or they're disgruntled? Like, there's a lot of different things that come into this. And again, these are just, guys, there's nothing I'm saying here that's revolutionary. You guys know this. Let me just say a quick shout out, because I know I've got these guys here in the super chat. Shout out to Andy Hart. He says, can Xbox see a Silent Hill from Kojima? We're going to get to that. He said 2 super chats with that, Andy. We will talk about that. Zeal says, got a chuckle from Sean Layden's liking We Miss Sean Layden tweets all day today. Zeal, that makes 2 of us. And shout out to, I want to say a quick shout out to Hamosart for the donation. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate it.
I'll read the book that tells what the hell happened behind the scenes with all that, bro.
The fall. But guys, I understand that, like, when it's coming down to it, this is one person kind of like putting out this information. It could be true, it could be false, everything like that. But when you look at some of the moves that Sony made when it came to the Japanese studio closing down, stuff like that. I mean, they're. But wait a minute, they have made moves that kind of feel like that goes with this whole thing as well.
What about when Microsoft decided to close down Lionheart there?
I'm talking about PlayStation. Okay?
But no, when you have a studio that's not Xbox, it's business. When you have a studio that's not making money, you close the company. You close it down.
Mooch, let's just say
I don't.
in our big Xbox
I don't
days,
get that.
Mooch, in our big Xbox days, Mooch,
Yeah.
we got a lot of shit.
Yeah, we did.
For saying that Lionhead hadn't created
Lionhead,
a
thank
damn
you.
game in years.
Yeah,
Right?
Lionhead was
basically-
literally right. Crap! We were talking about this on
Yeah.
FNC. We were like, they got to pay for their lunches, the light on, they have rent, taxes, everything else. They're paying for everything out there. Microsoft's footing the bill, and then you looked it up. You actually said to me, you're like, Mooch, come on, that can't be. And you're like, holy shit! You're like, you're right. They haven't actually made some money for
I'm
Microsoft
just
since
talking about the
2009.
validity.
But
I'm
my
just
point-
talking about the validity of what Jason Schreier said, and you guys are right. I said you guys are right. You don't know if it's true. You don't know if it's false. But when you look into it and you look at what Sony has done, like their moves look like they cater towards more this being true than anything else. That's all I said. And all of a sudden, I get Microsoft and Xbox. That was weird.
The issue with
I love
the
AAAs.
Japan studio thing.
Me too. With you, crap.
Is the fact that PlayStation is restructuring what PlayStation is in general. Like at the end of the day, regardless of what people think, PlayStation is a Japanese company, but they're restructuring studios and all that stuff. Where it's a European-centric type studio now that Japan studio is. Like they call it a team of Sony that's led by more like a European dude. With the leadership that Jim Ryan doing, he is restructuring like the essence of what PlayStation was. Like all of us, regardless if we was PlayStation gamers, we have played a Japan studio game in some way.
Yeah.
See, but Jay,
1, 2.
Jay, but they're doing that because let's face it, like consoles are dead in Japan. Like that's done. It's like Japanese gamers game on mobile devices, and the real fight, if you want to call it a fight in the console space, is in Europe and North America. That's the real fight. Japan's not even.
Well, I mean, Xbox a big fan. Xbox a big fan of saying bring the same energy. So I'm trying to bring the same energy. Like I said the same thing with Lionhead. I'm going to say the same thing with Japan Studios. Like if the games that they were making, and Jay, I know this kind of hurts, but I mean, I'm just trying to be honest here for a moment. If those games weren't making money, well, that's the end. The end result is you're not in existence anymore, and that goes for Microsoft, Sony, or Nintendo, right?
So
I'm gonna be a little petty here, right?
Go ahead.
And I'm not gonna bash this studio, but I got to bring it up.
No, go ahead,
right?
Jay.
You bring that point up for Japan Studios, the actual Japan studio,
right?
But we got a studio like Media Molecule that doesn't really sell like that, but they're still running. And they just put out an article or a tweet the other day that they're gonna Sony is fully supporting Media Molecule. Their games don't sell.
So
that's a good point, Jay.
Jay, that's a contradiction then to what Jason's saying, isn't it? Because if you think about it, if you think about it,
I'm talking about the focus of the Japanese essence. That's what
I understand what you're saying.
The essence.
I understand what you're saying, but it's like, are those games like the Japanese games? Are they sell? I think that they're trying to appeal more and more to the markets over here than over there at this point because they're selling better. Aren't they even tending to sell better over here?
They make more money over here. Like when you look at the North American market and you look at the European market, that's where the majority of money is made. You got United States, Canada, you got Mexico, and then you got all the countries in Europe. If you look at it monetarily, that's where all the money is made. But people thought that PlayStation wouldn't necessarily kind of like cut off Japan like that for all that money and focus on all that money, but that looks like exactly what they're doing.
That's because they money funny on Xbox.
What happened?
That's because they money funny. Okay, let's look at this and let's look at this analytically. Let's look at this analytically. Because I think people are just literally jumping the ship on this one without actually really truly thinking about it. Now, the whole Japan studio thing is one thing. That's kind of a situation where those games weren't selling. They don't really appeal to this side of the market like a lot of people think they do. It's a very small user base that actually buys those games, but that was kind of the benefit of being on PlayStation because PlayStation would actually go out and actually
take a chance on me,
and they would support. And they would support those type of games,
right.
And that's the thing that's the thing people always loved about PlayStation. They'll take the smallest game and they'll support it compared to other platforms and stuff. So that one hurts. But this whole situation with Sony being, I think it might be the fact that you kind of got to think of the environment we're in right now. Sony doesn't have any systems to sell because they can't get them off the line fast enough. They said they canceled Days Gone. Now there's a good chance that it might just be canceled for now.
Temporarily, that's right.
Yeah, temporarily.
They
might
rejected
just
the
be-
pitch.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
they
that
may
doesn't
need
mean it's
Sony
never going to
at that
happen.
time.
It's never but the
Yeah,
thing is,
Shuey rejected God of War.
Hey,
But
check
Right.
this out.
Great point, Brad.
Sony Bend might be just an interior studio that they're using to help make these other games. Like they said, they wanna push the games that they know are going to sell in the regions that they need to sell in. In order to do that, they probably need to get those games out fast.
Guys,
But-
I think we're missing a point here. My bad, 14. We're missing a point here, man. Stop the business talk for a second and think about you as a gamer and what you like. If PlayStation said, "Hey, in today's news, we're gonna start making games like Fortnite because Fortnite sells," you will be happy as a gamer, or are you gonna be like, "Well, I understand PlayStation."
No.
Because that's what makes
No, but Jay, the thing is, you heard Crap and Brap list off a bunch of names of everything we've heard. Basically, Sony say that they got coming out in the next 24 months, or at least deals. That's far stretched from they're just going to have and I know you use it as an example, a Fortnite only console. My point being is, I think we're going a little too far, and we do have to look at the business end of it, because at the end of the day, that's what structures what we get and what we don't get.
I just want to point this out too. The whole reason Xbox did what Xbox did was business sense, right? Like the reason why they put everything on PC, the reason why they have to pitch everything as a service,
because the games weren't selling.
Exactly. So everything they did was business
the reason
motivated.
why they tried to look so pro-consumer. It's all business.
It's
dude.
business,
Yes.
and the same thing with Sony. Look, and Sony's profits and their revenue are highest they've ever been and breaking records. And PlayStation 5 is selling. Trust me. Do you think anybody outside of our little bubbles gives a damn about this news today, or are going to try to stop getting a PlayStation 5?
There's still people going crazy in the streets trying to get a PS5 as we speak.
Let me point this out. There's so much evidence.
Hold on. We hardcore. We're seeing this early. All right. It might not matter to the bigger market right now, but if this stuff is true, as it's starting to be developed, and as all this stuff is coming out to the wider audience, right? In actual game form and stuff, then you'll see a reaction from them. We react earlier because we're into all this. We see the first signs, we see the first articles, we see the first tweets.
You know what people are going to see, Xbox? They're going to see possibly a Last of Us total remake running at 60 frames with the PS2 version of Last of Us 2 with factions all bundled for one price.
Yeah.
And they're going to go crazy and sell 20 million copies.
See, that was
Xbox. Why do you say woo?
Hold on. That was the developer's idea for the bundle. You have no idea what Sony and Naughty Dog might be planning for that moving forward.
Listen, Ben had half their studio helping them to make the Last of Us remake, and half their studio making factions. We know both that those things are going to happen. Well, it would just make sense to do that at this point. They're probably done. That's why Bend is off doing their own thing again. They're probably just waiting for Last of Us Day. I forget which day that is.
All I've heard from you talk about Xbox and Xbox gamers and what they're expecting and what they think is coming down the road. But crap, all I hear from you is probably maybe if
this got confirmed.
I'm just saying, like, I
did it not get confirmed?
I hear from
hold on.
I want to know.
Go check the IGN article on this. Last of Us remake for PS5 being made. That's the article.
I want to know why Xbox goes ooh when Crap said a bundle like that. What's so ooh about that? Like that. In my opinion,
because he wants them to charge $60 or $70 for the one, so that it seems more anti-consumer. But
I'm the one who brought up when you brought up bundle on Twitter. I'm the one who said, yeah, that was the developer that got pushed off of the project. That
doesn't mean they're not going to take that. They're not going to do that.
Doesn't mean that they are.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean that they're not.
It doesn't mean that they are. So we're in the same.
I'm just saying it makes a lot of sense for them to.
Bro.
Why do you think there's a reason why we haven't got a Last of Us 2 patch on PS5 yet? There's a reason why we haven't got news on factions.
Because they're going to charge you for it. That's exactly why.
The Last of Us is such a big franchise now.
They're going to charge you for it.
It's such a big franchise. It has its own day. It doesn't have its own Last of Us Day, right?
Right.
And they're going to announce this stuff then, and people are going to lose their shit. And you know what I mean? And
that's the thing.
People are going to absolutely love it.
The Days Gone 2 stuff, I can understand. And Jay, I'm right behind Jay Barry on everything with the Days Gone 2 stuff because I'm a big fan of Days Gone and that kind of. But I do have to say that. Here's the thing. Somebody just asked it in the chat, and I apologize for not. I don't want to scroll all the way up and lose where I'm at right now. But my point being is, what's a bigger risk right now? To green light Ben Studios and let them make Days Gone 2, or a new IP. A new IP is much, much more risky.
Mooch. I'm glad you said that because that kind of contradicts this notion that's out there, this narrative that
Contradiction to the narratives.
Yeah, they're not taking risks anymore. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. They just greenlit
a new IP.
Sony bed, and it's going to be a AAA game because that's where Sony's playing ball.
Right.
So
who's the new IP through though? Who's the new IP that they did it through? Who's it through?
Sony Bend Studios.
Sony Bend.
Okay.
It could be. Hey, they could surprise everybody in its siphon filter. Like people would lose their shit. They would. I guarantee the hardcore PlayStation community would give up Days Gone sequel for right now for a fucking new siphon filter. If you don't, then you're not a PlayStation fan. I'm sorry. The siphon filter was the shit back in the day.
All facts.
Crap, I would do backflips for siphon filter.
Exactly. So would I. So we don't know what's going on. Not only that, but you have to look at the facts. Like what Jay Barry said. They're doubling down on Media Molecule, which do smaller projects. Team Asobi, they're still going to do Astro games. Those are smaller games.
Right.
They're pimping VR, which VR's backbone is smaller projects. Right? Like it's not Sony's first party supporting VR. It's the smaller stuff. I got 100 VR games, and most of them are smaller stuff. So those are all smaller, riskier stuff. So the whole narrative that they're not going to take any risks or they're not going to do, I think they're going to take calculated risks. And I think that the better their stuff sells. Listen, Sony back in the day never was known for what was Sony's mascot? I mean, early on it was Crash, but while Chief was the mascot for Xbox and Mario was the mascot for Nintendo, Sony was kind of all over the place, right? Was it, you know what I mean? Like who was it? And now I think they finally have these big franchises like Microsoft and Nintendo have, and they want to milk them and make that money. They're not going to do anything.
Are you saying that they're going to Halo, Gears, Forza, their franchises?
I would assume that's what the plan is.
Right.
They're making a Last of Us show. They're going to make a Last of Us show. Uncharted's getting a move. I'm not saying those are the right moves. I'm saying that's what they're doing. Right? They're putting them everywhere. They're putting like the shows. They're going to have a movie. They're going to get remakes. You know what I'm saying? Like they're getting a new game. Well, it would be foolish not to put out another Uncharted game.
We got to remember something.
Let's just be real.
I heard Jay Barry say I don't like that. Like when if you want to compare Microsoft and Sony first party, but in reality, they're not on the same level, and they might be. With these new acquisitions that Microsoft has. But as it stands today, Sony, as I said this earlier, has just been on a different level in terms of these big AAA games. So I'm not saying it can't happen. Where maybe them going to the well too many times might end up being bad for them. That could happen. I don't see that just happening yet. And I also, what Crap brought up about VR is the ultimate playground for creativity right now. And that, if you talk to Matt Piscatella, he's like, I think, that's just throwing money into the fire. That's his thoughts on VR. But they're still heavily invested in PSVR. So I think that just says something. I think what's just happening is that they're just moving things differently. They're kind of moving things around. The pieces of the puzzle are changing.
I don't like it. Everything you guys saying, it sounds great. I'm not the games that PlayStation pumping out. Hell yeah, I'm gonna play them joints. But the variety, one thing I love PlayStation for, the Japanese style games.
Yes,
I love it. That's the main things that I play. But I want that. You're gonna get those games still. First party perspective, not just third party.
Why does it matter if it's first party, third party, or second party?
Because they had a studio that did that. Japanese studio has been doing that for years for PlayStation. They've been publishing, they've been making, they've been co-directing a lot of Japanese games.
I understand.
Now they're focusing on just on Astrobot. I love Astrobot, but I like my Japanese quirky Japanese.
But I mean, they could still go to Atlas and still get Persona and still get.
But I want it from a. It's a different sauce, man. Yo, it's third party.
Jay, let me ask you something. Is it a different sauce
because
it allows you to?
For sure.
No, I understand it. I understand it. Yeah, he's not wrong.
Because it's more like, hey, Sony has this and the other guys don't.
No, it's not that. It's the fact that you have a studio that focused on that. You have the experience of over 25 years of making these type of games.
Name a game that's similar to Gravity Rush. Go ahead.
No, there isn't a game that I play that's similar to Gravity Rush.
That's what he's saying. The personality of the games that were coming out from that is what he is into. That's what he's saying.
That's the stuff I like.
And I get that, but there's other. What I'm saying is, there's still going to be some level of support from Japanese studios because of the nature of PlayStation, the brand power. Like, studios are going to be still inclined to go out and put their games on the PlayStation platform. Why?
Not all studios is the same. Like I'm saying, you're taking away all of that.
Oh no! Again,
that experience and culture that Japanese studios have had with their games. It's like I said, the essence. Everybody was laughing at the Japanese essence, but that really and truly, that's what I look at. The whole article, I'm upset about the Days Gone too, but I'm looking at the Japanese essence of PlayStation.
Yeah, if PlayStation is not careful, is not careful, and they decide to Halo, Gears, and Forza, their franchises, right? People look back on the 360, and they talk about all these other titles, and Enrique was here talking about them as well. And it's like, well, what happened? They just started focusing on those main ones, the ones that they knew they were going to make money. If PlayStation is not careful, they are going down that same road.
But wait a minute. I guess I got to hit the brakes here for a second. Where's Nova? I'm going to give you the mic. Where's the problem with why is that work? What's good for the goose is good for the gander, right? You can't say it's good for Xbox to do that, but it's not good. They have not only award-winning games
Xbox
that are
had to
change
change everything and acquire what they have 23 studios now.
Great, and we're still getting Halo, Forza, and Gears. So listen, that's fine. That's fine, but we're getting but it's the same thing. I don't understand. We just mentioned that there's like 10, 12 games coming out, right? That Brap and Crap just went through on their list of games, and then in addition to that, a possible Uncharted 5, and then a Last of Us, a new IP from Naughty Dog, and then there's things that are happening on both sides here. I think we're just cutting one a bit short here with all the positive Xbox news, which by the way is warranted. It's definitely worthy of the Xbox positive news, but I think that I think it's just premature to be as negative as they are on Sony. Nova, go ahead. I took the mic away.
No, I just wanted to just add something small. So, from reading this article a couple times, like we're it's focused on Mumbauer's team, his small team that played a big support role. Since when is and I understand his team wanted their own game. They wanted they didn't want to help out Naughty Dog, right? That's what I get from this article. But since when is support bad, right? You have a movie, you have your main actors, you need your support actors, right? Yeah. You need your extras to fill in to help out.
Well, that's probably what happened, right? If you look at it, okay? So they're like, we got a PS5 coming, we need those games. We're going to deny your request to do Days Gone 2, and we want you guys to support Naughty Dog to get Factions out and to get The Last of Us out because that shit prints money. You know what I mean? Like that's probably, and now they're off doing their own thing. Now, granted, if you're the head of Ben Studios and both your team got split and you're basically working for Naughty Dog right now, you do worry about possibly, now that your shit's done, you don't want to be consumed by Naughty Dog. You want to kind of do your own thing. Right. And so they're okay, can we do our own thing now and cut ties? And now it looks like, they're doing either a new IP or something different. They could, who knows?
It said new IP, but
yeah, new IP. It could be, it could be anything. But at the same time, it's like we won't know for a little while, And I think that obviously, I think we're not as used to PlayStation being as quiet as they are, right? Because they were always confident and cocky. Right?
Well, I think that's another thing that we have to kind of bring up. And DC, I'll go to you. Crap, thanks for bringing it up, though. I want to see. DC,
look at even E3.
Yeah, but but crap, the beginning of the PS4 era, Sony was 2014, 2015 wasn't happening. Like it was quiet. That's when remember even Andrew House came out and said, we don't have a lot to show right now, but we will. And then they got louder and louder and louder. This is Sony's MO. And the fact that they're actually starting the generation with this many games, which you like them or you don't, that's up to you. I'm not telling you to like them. But I'm saying, like, they've had games out. They've got games coming out. We've got a game coming out in less than 30 days, right? And then you got Ratchet & Clank coming out in June. You were supposed to get Deathloop. That got bumped back to September. But my point being is there's games here, and everyone's sitting here saying, I just don't know what's going on with Sony. They're really tanking it. And I'm sitting there, and I'm like, the competitors, they don't have a game coming out till November. And I'm like, I'm very confused with that. DC, do you see where I'm coming from? I think Sony PS4, everyone remembers what happened yesterday. Nobody remembers what happens the day before that, right? So PS4 era, when it started, it was a little bit slower. It was. And then they ramped up and they didn't stop, right? The train just kept on going. And nowadays, everyone's like, well, Sony's train can't slow down at all. And I'm like, wait a minute. Microsoft took their foot off the gas in 2015. So my whole thing is, I'm just asking the question here: why is it all of a sudden we're freaking out today? I'm just not seeing it yet. I mean, DC, where are we? Where am I seeing something, or where am I missing something?
The whole reason people are freaking out and ringing the klaxons, I think, is because of the silence right now, which is just the fact that every 10 days, Microsoft picks up the mic and says, "Oh yeah, and I also banged your mom." Like every
It's true, right?
Microsoft must be playing Call of Duty then.
It is, yeah. They're the masters of the mic, and they're also going to plow your sister. But the thing is that, like, while we're all sitting here waiting
DC,
for
your
Sony
grandmother.
to hit back, like the thing is that Sony keeps saying, "I got good stuff coming," and we can only hear that so many times. Of like, Ratchet and Clank's going to be great,
right,
when it comes out, and
Yeah.
then Spider-Man 2, that's going to be great whenever that eventually comes out. God of War Ragnarok, we still have nothing more than a logo. I think the thing is that we realize that these are all going to be 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 games that are going to be fantastic when they come out, but we're still in a place where a lot of us are kind of saying, okay, but what can I be excited for now? You guys aren't building up anything. You're not talking about anything. Like their accounts are practically bots. If you actually follow a lot of the Sony studios, they tweet out like the same 4 images again and again and again with a pre-order link. Like if you actually follow the Ratchet and Clank Twitter account, it shows the same key art from November. And I think a lot of people now are going, okay, these games are going to be fantastic, but what's getting me excited? Like, what have you done for me lately? That kind of old shtick is that this isn't the worst news ever. They're definitely not in trouble, but man, I miss Sony fucking fighting dirty.
You know, the funny thing is, they could go out and show
real quick. You know what I
God
think
of
people
War
are concerned about? People are concerned about like when a company or when something is perceived as number one at the top of the mountain.
Yeah,
you gotta like people are looking for that kink in the armor for that slip on the rock. You know what I'm saying? And not if you look at Sony's history. If you look at their history, Sony as a corporation, I'm not saying PlayStation as a division, but if you look at Sony's history as a corporation, once they reach the summit, they get cocky and then they fall. All right, we've seen it from Sony.
So where is that abrupt behavior that you're talking about coming into play right now? Because I'm not seeing it.
Well, people who are kind of like going at this, in the gaming media. And
I saw it from the PS2 to PS3 era. That was pretty clear. I'm not seeing that right now. I'm just not. I mean, people are making that same correlation, and I'm like, you're completely missing the piece that links those two comments together.
I think what it is, it's what people personally feel, what people are personally concerned about, and they're putting it out there. If they have the outlet, if they're a part of gaming news and stuff like that, if they have that concern, that's what they're putting out there because they do remember the PS.
Well, it's a slow news week.
PS3 era. I wouldn't consider it a slow news.
I would.
Like everything
because I mean we can't just talk about what things that are fearful of every. I mean, like you're not going to work because you might get hit by a bus.
Another thing is,
I mean, what are we talking about?
What are we doing here?
What are we doing here?
What are we doing here? Yeah.
I
one of the things that I think is funny, what I think they're actually doing, they're doing what Microsoft did back in 2015 without going as extreme. Like, I think that they're trimming the fat all over.
Yeah.
To maximize profits.
Right. Same thing with the Lionhead Studios.
Yeah, exactly. And not just Lionhead, but they they closed Press Play and they let go of Twisted Pixel and they canceled games. I think what they're doing is they obviously were consolidating, right? They were like a 3-headed monster before. Sony was, PlayStation. Like you had like the one arm didn't know what the other arm was doing, and now it's all consolidated to one. Right? Jim Ryan's the head. There's no head of the Japan division or European division. It's just Jim Ryan is the head of PlayStation. Right. So you got one thinking head, you cut out the fat, they trimmed the fat on the Japan studio that obviously wasn't making them any money. They double down on their studios that they trust. Clearly they love what Naughty Dog's doing. They got Naughty Dog making, 4 damn things or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So I think that what they're doing is just trying to set themselves up to maximize profits and keep gaming.
PlayStation's in trouble?
No, hell no.
All right, because like when Xbox did all that, I think we can all agree that Xbox as a division was in trouble. So you're saying they're doing the same thing that Xbox was doing.
They're doing it without it being as extreme. Without it being as extreme.
I'm just saying.
I mean, they're making the most profits any company's ever made in gaming right now. I mean, I think it's completely. But I think they're trying to maximize profits
that gaming has ever had as well.
But they're also going to try to continue to maximize profits as best that they can, and I think that's where some of this stuff comes into play. right? Like if I'm looking at it, I'm going, we're making a shit ton of money, but guess what? We can make more if we do this, this, and this. Maybe I'm thinking about doing that. It takes a little bit of the human factor out of it. Like I think like PlayStation always came across to me as the more consumer friendly. Like they all want our money, but they were the ones that always seemed like they actually gave a damn about the games. So I don't want to see them go into a situation where they don't anymore, where they're more corporate, because I feel like Microsoft is still super corporate. If it ain't something about Game Pass, then they don't care.
Sony is showing signs of being. Jim Ryan and them are showing signs of being corporate.
Well, yeah, that's what they want to stay away from.
Yeah, real quick, guys. I've always disagreed with this idea that companies aren't corporate per se. They're all corporate.
Of course they are.
So, yeah,
absolutely.
Like, and they're gonna maximize their profits. They're gonna look at the data and say, where's the engagement? Where do players spend the most of their time? What kind of games do they buy? What titles have been successful for us? You know, and that's what they're gonna do. A third of Sony's revenue comes from PlayStation, you know, and so I don't think they're taking this lightly per se, but I also want to make a what kind of go back to what Dreamcast guy said. Yeah, like I like we all remember the this is how you share games on PlayStation, right? Like, I think we all missed that that Sony kind of puffing out their chest, but I'll say the concern, the knee-jerk reaction that I'm seeing at least kind of reminds me of what happened this past summer and spring after the Mark Cerny PlayStation 5 reveal, which was lackluster. I get it. I wasn't, exactly excited about Cerny sitting in front of a virtual podium and just talking about things I don't understand per se, looking like a mad scientist.
That was a sight.
But,
yeah.
Looking more like Dana Carvey than ever.
He did look like Dana Carvey. But
excellent.
But everyone was like, "Oh my God, Sony's in trouble.
Right.
PlayStation 5 is having problems. The yields are bad, and Microsoft's being transparent. Even the media ran with it. Microsoft's being transparent.
Yeah, remember the doom and gloom? Yeah.
And then what happened? PlayStation 5
smart delivery.
Yeah, PlayStation 5 released, and they are outpacing the sales of the PlayStation 4.
In a pandemic, when you can't get the shit made out. Yeah, I get it. It's crazy.
I know.
They sold like 7 million
How
copies.
did they make that much, that many consoles if they were having such a
now,
hard time?
Brad, hold on. You're on rant. Let me just get a couple and hold that, because I just want to take this pause right here real quick. I got so many super chats and I'm way behind. Shout out to Eric. He says The Last of Us remastered to get more sales from HBO series. Andy Hart's back. He says Xbox seems more gamer friendly at the moment. I like how Andy says that, because I really dig what he's saying. I agree. At the moment, yes. But like Crap was saying, prior, you go back a ways, Sony was the friendlier one. Everyone has short-term memory. Nobody remembers. But if you go back to 2013 all the way to 2016, Sony was the friendly one. Okay, so now we're on. X Abbott, he says the lead and other devs from Sony, I don't know if he's saying SD, a.k.a. VASG, left to ZeniMax Online Studios SD, working on a new IP late last year. Jaffe confirmed. Just thought that was interesting as it was after the buyout. So shout out to X Abbott. I appreciate that. Steady Flow says the funny thing, this happened last year with Xbox. Had great publicity early on. Then Sony releases the PS5 video in the summer. The hype for Xbox goes down. Shout out to TrueWiddy. He says, Siphon Filter, effing hope so. I love that game. I'm a little behind here. I apologize. Shout out to Gaming Persona, the podcast partner with our friend Jay Bari. He says, big shout out to my bro, Bari. What's up, boys? Yo, Persona, thank you for being here tonight, buddy. I appreciate that. Capone5150, he says, crazy how fast they forget how good PS4 gen ended. That's what I'm saying, Capone. Everyone's got short-term memory. Andy Hart's back. He says, Xbox did drop the ball in 2015. Terrible fumble. Now they're starting to run with the ball. I agree. B. Lou says, Mooch, Captain, save a Sony. I'm not sure what he means by that, but Bilu, thank you. And Sir X-Man's here. He says, the great Sir X-Man, he says, so you got one company growing and one shrinking. Okay, well, the great Sir X-Man. And then Marvin, who's here. It's Marvin Arvin. He says, The Last of Us remake could be a VR spinoff like, I think he means Half-Life Alex. So shout out to Marvin. Marvin Arvin. I like that. All right, so Brap, go ahead. I apologize I stole the mic from you. But you were making some outstanding points.
Yeah, no, I was just saying, like, it just kind of reminds me of this past summer, and then you fast forward now to launch, and Sony's just they haven't lost a step per se, and again, we don't know what we don't know, like we don't know what's in the pipeline. Yeah. Look, this summer E3 drops, they announced SOCOM remake, which apparently that's in the works. Maybe Red Faction apparently. I mean, we're gonna forget the Jason Schreier article. we're going to forget all these other things.
Look how fast
And the
people
one-
forgot it when Last of Us 2 actually came out.
I know.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that's how quick it goes, man.
And I'll say this too, Crap. You know, the one thing Jim Ryan said, we want to bring games. Like that's the one thing he hasn't wavered from. They know the importance of content, and that's why I believe that they're not going to necessarily like, you know, I think be in a position like I see people comparing Jim Ryan to Dom Magic. I'm like, that's not why even make that comparison? Like, we're not even there. But he's been very vocal about content, like content. We want to get PlayStation 5 in the hands of as many people as possible, and they want to do that by content. Had it not been for this pandemic, and let's face it, this pandemic's really impacted game development, we'd probably have more Sony games, you know, like we would have probably had Deathloop. There would probably been some other Sony projects that didn't get delayed that would have made
Probably would have got
the
Gran
console.
Turismo this year.
Yeah, got Gran Turismo this year. I mean, if you looked at what Sony was projecting for the first year lineup, this was probably their best, what they had on paper at least, their best lineup. I mean, PlayStation 4, let's face it, was super slow. People used to call it the indie station. Like, I remember that. You know, people used to hammer Sony for being not having a big AAA titles at the beginning of the PlayStation 4, and look how that console turned out. So again, I'm with you. I'm not sure where the you know,
the concern is. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't see it just yet.
I mean, what Jason wrote definitely holds some merit. You know, I'm not taking anything of that away, but like I said, you have to look at who he spoke to. Who are these people? They're always like, you know, just, you know, they're concealed names. Maybe they're disgruntled. Maybe they were upset. Maybe they were let go. You know, or maybe it's just maybe they know how everyone's feeling. Maybe those few people he spoke to are resulting with the hundreds of people feel at these studios, and that may be the case. You know, and Jay Barr, shout out to the great Jay Barr who's with us tonight. Jay, I saw that tweet you just had with a picture you sent out with you and Sean Layden. I mean, Sean was definitely a beloved leader of PlayStation, but so was Jack Trenton. And I remember when Jack left, people were saying this. They were like, man, it's over. You can't replace Jack. Jack's the best, right? And then Sean stepped in, and Sean took a lot of heat. The first couple of years.
Remember the Crash Bandicoot shirt that was
yeah.
Nah, Sean took a lot of heat from you guys.
He did, Jay. You're right, Jay. No, Jay's right. Give Jay his credit.
It seemed, you know what, at first it seemed like he was trying to copy Phil. He
Yeah.
was wearing like a shirt.
He was coming out with a members only jacket and the Crash t-shirt,
you know?
and it was like, all right, it's Phil Jr. You know, so I'm saying what Brab's saying. But you know, I will say this much. I would definitely be on the same bandwagon, the same grief that Jay Barry is if we find out that Jim Ryan's not doing what he's supposed to be doing in a couple of years. But the guy just took over. The console launched 6 months ago. It's just I feel like we're kind of
already shown a huge amount of double speak when it comes down to it.
I think well, that's his job to do double speak.
We've gotten double speak from all the executives so far.
Hey, Worry Wart says, I just want a game where you play as Phil Spencer. He's dreamy. I think 99% of the Xbox fan base would agree with you right there.
That's awesome, Worry.
I'm pretty sure that would sell games.
I would sell with my dad.
That would sell. Oh man. All right. So listen, guys. I think we talked about that enough. I kind of
water.
Well,
$5.99 a gallon.
Speaking of Phil, we've got the Kojima, right? The big Kojima Productions rumored to be creating a game with Xbox as the publisher. So you know, I'm going to go to DC Dreamcast guy. DC, what do you think about this? So I'm hearing more and more that this may be something that is very, very true. I guess two questions. Is this something that you believe in? And B, do you think it'll prosper? A Kojima game exclusively on Xbox would prosper solely there when predominantly you see his fan base resides on PlayStation. Predominantly. That's not necessarily always the case as we move forward in the future. What do you think?
I mean, it's so difficult to say. Like, I mean, Death Stranding was a project that, like, the interviews didn't make sense. The original trailers didn't make sense. A lot of the early gameplay reveals stuff just didn't make sense, but it turned out to be fantastic. Pretty much everybody who beat Death Stranding gave it a 9 out of 10. It's such a freaking groundbreaking outside the box experience. But I think that's also kind of the difficulty of it is like, how do you market a game that is borderline unmarketable? Right. I guarantee you that Microsoft is very, very, that's me, people sending me texts on the Tinder. Anyways, so That we did here was that Sony was a little bit upset with how long Death Stranding was taking and just how weird it was. And apparently they'd go in there and ask Kojima to his face for like, how's the project going? And he'd show him like a paper clip and dipped in glue and shit that just didn't make sense and stuff. I think Microsoft has deeper pockets and they'll be more receptive.
Damn.
I mean, I think that because Microsoft has deeper pocketbooks, maybe they will just let them off the rails and we will just get a game that's like only written in Japanese and the controller electrocutes you. 10
years later.
I mean, like, what are you working on? This paperclip dipped in glue. Look at it.
The original, there was a thing where they said, "What is Death Stranding?" And his official statement was, "It's two people tied to mattresses with sticks that knock each other over." That was the actual Kojima quote. Like,
holy crap! Hey, to be fair, I mean, they got that game fast. It got done in 3 years.
That is amazing, the turnaround time on that.
Yeah.
But you know that actually brings something up, which is a big part of that turnaround time was because Guerrilla Games gave them such an easily workable game engine that's completely done already. I'm kind of curious, like, are they going to get that kind of help again? Is Microsoft got somebody in their pocket or something? Because I feel like Kojima does need that outside help sometimes.
Mooch, I got an analogy that I want to share with the panel that I brought up on my show last night. So we talked about this, and I compared Kojima like a scorned, very hot ex-girlfriend, right? Kojima Studios, let's say. And Sony is the friend, you know, who's trying to console from the bad breakup with Konami.
Right.
And Microsoft is the guy who pulls up in a Ferrari and is like, hop in, you know? So while I do think, yes, they've talked and they've probably met. Of course, Microsoft has the bag. Why wouldn't Kojima meet and see what's going on? So I'm sure where there's smoke, you know, there's some fire there. But we also have to remember that right after the bad breakup between Kojima and Konami, who was right there? Sony was the best friend saying, I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, that guy's toxic, whatever. So
better, baby.
Consoling while trying to put their hand up the leg real quick. Like,
well, it's the same thing Sony did with Jade Raymond, right? The minute she left Stadia, they're like, you know, hey, come on, let's come over here and make a game. Yeah.
So anybody knows Jade Raymond Twitter? I'm trying to get in her DMs. Just let me know.
Guys, check this out. I have what might be.
I like them all.
What might be an unpopular opinion here when it comes down to it, and the Xbox gaming community. Like,
what do you got?
I know people are getting excited because they hear the name Kojima, and of course, with Death Stranding and everything that's going on, when you hear Kojima, you know, the people on the extremist side that deal with console wars, they think about PlayStation and they're like, oh man, like, oh, they're working out a deal and Kojima's going to have an Xbox game. And I'm thinking to myself, I looked at a bunch of people in the community and what they said about Death Stranding. All right.
Right.
And I'm like, would a game from Kojima fit the community that's in that is Xbox, the Xbox community? Yeah. And I know there are people out there that would enjoy kind of like an eccentric game and stuff like that. But I'm like, would that really take off? I know a lot of people they're hyping it up because they want that Kojima name to be next to Xbox is what's going on. And it's another shot out at social media and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I just feel when it comes to Kojima, and now, you know, I guess you guys really like Death Stranding. Like I can't necessarily see it. And you know, people go back.
Have you played it, Xbot?
People go back to Metal Gear. No, I have not.
And listen, Xbot, Xbot, this is not the typical. Hold on, it's not the typical jab where people go, "Oh, if you don't knock it till you try it." I'm not going to say that.
Well, all I'm going to say is PS4 before it came out.
It's one of those games where if anyone isn't just in love with the game before it came out, before they played it, it's one of those things you got to kind of experience. And there's so many people on both sides, Xbox and PlayStation guys, that have played it.
Here's the thing,
and it is something unique. I enjoyed it.
You get addicted to that shit is the thing.
I enjoyed it.
Can I just real quick, like, yo. People go past the Death Stranding thing when I talk to them about it. They're like, well, you know, Metal Gear, and I'm like, dude, I feel like Kojima is past Metal Gear. I feel like he has moved on from it. Metal Gear went left, he went right, and I don't feel like it's necessarily the same Kojima. It's the same guy that would create.
I could see where you're coming from, Xbot. I can see where you're coming from on that.
He's gotten into more.
He's gotten more into the cinema,
more artistic.
Yeah, cinema and art. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's where he wants to go. He wants to like direct movies and stuff like that as well. Like that's
I'm kind of okay with that though.
So I'm not sure. Like I'm not like, oh yes, like I'm not gonna downplay. I'm not gonna say, oh no, don't do it. But I'm not sure if the audience, the general gaming audience that games on the Xbox platform,
I got to agree with Xbox.
It's gonna grab a Kojima game, man.
Let me point this out too, right? So I noticed yesterday when I saw that this was a rumor, Xbox fans were more excited about taking something perceived away from Sony than they were about having an actual Kojima game to play themselves. So
yeah, definitely.
Banging your enemy's girlfriend. It's not if she's
DC.
Yeah, exactly the point. Like,
be repulsive.
I don't understand what Microsoft would get out of getting a Kojima game. To be honest with you, like the Xbox community hates walking simulators apparently, and hates movie narrative games, and that's what he does.
Well, see, in the chat, people are like, well, yo, check this out. In the chat, people are like, well, Xbox will give him the freedom to do what he wants. Well, Sony kind of did that, and he came out with Death Stranding, and I've seen a lot of people in the Xbox community say, what the hell is this?
They're gonna get paperclip and glue. That's gonna be his game. Let him do what he wants.
Real quick. Like the benefit for Microsoft getting a Kojima game,
yes,
is just purely
yes,
it would be a big win for Microsoft marketing from a marketing perspective, PR, and to dump it in Game Pass.
Yes,
right. It creates mind share for Game Pass. Like, oh my God, holy shit!
Yeah.
Now Game Pass has a Kojima game, day and date exclusive, and I have to pay $70 for it. Right. Oh my God, this is great. Like that's it. Whether or not people play it, different story. But for Microsoft, it's just another feather in the cap for them for Game Pass.
It really is. Every move they make is a strategic move for Game Pass. And, you know, I have it as I don't want to leave the Kojima topic yet because I want to hear what some others may have to say about it. But it's the other question that I've been asking on Twitter recently. And I said, do a lot of people think that MLB The Show 2022 will be in Game Pass? And a lot of people are saying, no, I feel it won't. They feel like this is just a big splash Microsoft's trying to make, A, to give time for their first party to get prepared, A, B, to do that wow factor that Brap was just talking about and Crap was just talking about with the whole Kojima thing. They're not really excited to play the Kojima game that Xbox just defined perfectly, that is more artistic, more like a cinematic type of movie, right? Versus versus the sheer fact of, haha, we took something from Sony and threw it into Game Pass. So that's,
Mooch, by the way,
yes.
Real quick, Kojima's been with he's flirted with Microsoft before. Like he
came on the stage in 2013, right, for Metal Gear Solid 5.
Yeah.
So this is not new.
He's a third party developer. Like I don't see him making the game for Xbox an issue. He can do whatever he wants to do.
Yeah,
think about this. Wasn't he
mad
rumored
about
to be
it?
making?
There's some people mad about it on social media, bro.
Oh, absolutely.
Wasn't he rumored to be making a Stadia exclusive at one point?
I believe that was out there.
I think the rumor was like the Silent Hill that he's planning to do or something like that. I guess everybody thought that was going to be like PlayStation exclusive or whatnot. I don't know.
Yeah, and apparently this thing is really happening. Like I was listening to Jeff Grubb earlier today, and he was like, "Yeah, the contracts are in the lawyer's hands." I'm like, "What?" Like apparently this thing's going down. So
yeah,
oh wow,
that sounds like it's going to happen.
Like you said, marketing wise, like on the business side of it, you know, and I think that's something we on the panel do more than maybe kind of like, you know, the a lot of the gamers out on social media, like business side of it, the marketing and stuff like that you can have while signing a name like that. That, I mean, that means a lot to Xbox as far as the game goes within the community. That's where I'm kind of like, yo, that's a yellow light. It's not a red light. It's not a stop. It's not a green light. It's going to all go through. Mm-hmm. That's a yellow light. Like, I don't know how the community will grasp onto this.
Shout out to the great Predator H2O. He says, if Kojima comes to Xbox, we also have to take Jeff Keighley with him. Great question by the great Predator. Outstanding to have Pred here. Thank you. That sounds...
like Jeff Keighley he follows behind, almost like he's attached from behind.
Yes.
It's weird. Like when it comes
they're
to
just
friends. They're just friends. They're just friends.
I really wish that Kojima spoke more English someday he's just like, bro, stop calling me. Like, imagine if he just said that shit in public. Like,
Wow.
Stop
Yo,
calling.
send him a paper clip covered in glue and it's like, stop calling me. Okay.
It is kind of funny though, because you know this. I participate in the console wars. If you guys didn't know,
You do?
Jay, get out of here. Get out of here, Jay. No way.
Ari. Are you
You know,
serious?
it is kind of funny to see. I seen a lot of Xbox guys like, yo, what? It's amazing. But I just had like a debate with you probably like last year saying that, yo, you hate Kojima. You take too long developing games. He's a quack. You know, he's all these
Dude,
things.
how long do you think he'll take with Xbox if they don't like reel him in? I think we heard a few things where PlayStation had to kind of reel Kojima in when it came to Death Stranding because he started like veering off and stuff like that. And that's something that Kojima is known for. Like,
oh my God, it would be hilarious.
But it's when the tools come. That's one.
5 or 6 years in, they're like, "What do you got? What do you got, Kojima?" And he's like, "I have a game. It's in total darkness, and you just have to feel your way around, and you can't
It's
really
just
feel
darkness.
anything." Yeah, it's just darkness. It took you 5 years to create this. Yes. It's
Yes,
like,
it
All I gotta
did.
say though, if it's something appealing, that's a good look.
That's right, Jay.
Kojima makes some of the weirdest shit that works. Like Boktai was a Game Boy game where you used sunlight as a gun to kill vampires. You could play the game at night, but you could only do boss fights while sitting in the sunlight. You'd actually drag a coffin into the sunlight, and there was a sun sensor on the top of your Game Boy cartridge. You had to walk outside, sit in direct sunlight, and battle the Vampire Kings. And I got sunburned hands playing that shit, but you're goddamn right, it was a great experience.
You wonder
Wow,
why I
that
subscribe
sounds
to
crazy right
to
there.
Dreamcast's channel.
that sounds
DC
badass.
will tell you about games you
Yeah.
never ever heard about. He knows about them. It's
Yo, Mooch,
fantastic.
real quick,
He's known for that,
about-
though.
Absolutely.
About MLB The Show 22.
Yeah.
I feel because it's MLB
Yeah.
publishing the game, if the game does well in kind of like microtransactions, you know, of course an active user base when it Game Pass, but at the end of the day, it's about the money. So microtransactions. So if the game does really well on Game Pass,
Yeah.
microtransactions wise,
Mhm.
dude, don't be surprised if 22 goes into Game Pass as well. I think a lot of the
Right. No, I
publishers
agree
that
with you.
Publish yearly sports games are looking at the MLB stuff to see exactly what's going to happen there when it comes to the revenue, bro.
Yeah, I personally would think that it would take what you just said, Xbot. It would take that kind of huge financial get for MLB for them to do. I don't think Xbox will do this every year. I think this was a big splash. It's a huge advert. Basically, you know how they're looking at the bag that they put down for MLB? Advertising money. You know what I mean? Instead of doing something during a Super Bowl for Game Pass, they'll just do this for $20 million, you know?
If they're aiming for all the yearly kind of like yearly sports games and trying to entice them to go day and date into Game Pass.
That's true.
'cause
It could
let's
be a
be real,
ploy.
like
It could be a
those-
good ploy for that.
Those gamer numbers right there, that consumer base for each one of those, the Maddens, the NBAs, the MLBs,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. When it comes to microtransactions, like that revenue, if you can get more gamers in without paying that entry fee of
Yes.
buying the game, they are
Fact.
more adept to like spending that money on microtransactions where the developer and the publisher could possibly make more profit
And
than they did
who's the developer?
selling
Xbox.
the game.
Uh-oh.
San Diego.
Sony.
Sony
And
San Diego.
that's a Sony made studio, Sony
Yeah.
made IP.
Yep, on
Developer.
Xbox. On Xbox.
I know, but majority of that microtransaction that you're hyping about is not really going to Microsoft.
Well, see, the way I'm talking about this, I like
think he's talking
again, I'm
about
not talking console war
party.
or anything like that. I'm talking about the viability
Of it coming
MLB
back on
Go
Game Pass.
going back into Game
Yeah.
Pass, and if they show a revenue stream
Mhm.
that will be lucrative to the publisher and of course
Yeah.
the developer on that, then yes, that game will be there the next year and the next year. And if Xbox aims for those
Mhm.
that consumer base for those yearly sports games, and they get those yearly sports games into Game Pass, dude, that's huge, absolutely huge.
If
to the
games go in
gaming
their day and date,
Can I-
it's massive. Go ahead, Brad.
Yeah, I just want to chime in. I think Xbox really brings up a great point because this is kind of like a test for those types of games. If Microsoft says, "Hey, you know what?" Like Xbox said, we're removing that entry barrier of $70, right? And because we did that, gamers are more likely to spend X amount of dollars because they didn't make that initial investment
Yeah.
up front similar to what you see with like free-to-play games, right?
Mm-hmm.
That could be a big selling point for Microsoft. And it's very similar to how they kind of pitched Xbox Live a little bit, like saying, hey, you know what? We have this online infrastructure.
Yeah.
And you could do downloads, you can keep people engaged, you can do microtransactions, you know.
So can I pose a dangerous situation that this is going to be this will be a digital version of what we went through the past 15 years. If Sony Counterpunch, which is out there now, there was an article today say Sony's Counterpunch to Game Pass. If they do everything that Game Pass does besides the day and date, and all of a sudden, is there going to be exclusives on services versus physical media like we consumed before? So, like, I'll give you an example. If this is the way the market's going with Brap and Xbox were just saying, then if Sony ups their ante and they have their version of they're not streaming, pardon me, but you know the services that Game Pass offers, I'm going to call it PS Now for now, but I think they're going to rebrand it. All of a sudden, you'll have Sony and Microsoft both trying to get possibly like Madden in there exclusively for 3 to 6 months or something like that. Would that start to be now? Basically, so what I'm saying to you guys is that are listening, you're going, Mooch, where are you going with this? The same thing that was happening with physical content. All we're really doing is moving into the digital world.
Yeah, that's exactly what's going on.
That's all it's going to be.
That's one of the reasons why I said like Sony is going to do this as well, man.
I think Sony's going to have their version of a Game Pass, but without the first party day and date as of now. Can that change in the future? Absolutely. But as of now, I mean, now I'll go to DC. DC, do you think that holds water?
I'm not sure. We'll see how this all shakes out. I mean, it's so difficult to try and guess because this whole generation feels a little bit behind in general. It just seems Sony and Microsoft meant to launch these consoles in like June. So it's so difficult to try and guess microtransaction profits and stuff. But I mean, if they manage to sell it, I definitely think that next MLB will land their day and date as well. I mean, I'll be curious if how much Microsoft dances around with those numbers of downloads. Because if there's like 5 million installs of MLB on Xbox and there's like 4 million sales on PS4 or some shit or PS5, I feel like they're going to be dancing around in the streets like, ooh, the most played platform.
Right. And that's the thing.
And what the publisher is going to be looking at is like, well, how much money did we make in microtransactions with that 5 million and with that 4 million as well? Like, how much money did we make all together? And I, you know, a lot of people try to make this an Xbox, PlayStation thing, but you got to remember the publisher is Major League Baseball. All right. They have no stake in whatever platform. They want their game on as many platforms as they can get it on. So this way they can make as much money as possible. They want to be as popular as the NBA 2Ks, as the Maddens and stuff like that. And they came up to the conclusion that they're not going to be that popular if they're only on one console. And that's why we're seeing it multi-platform. And I also believe that's another reason why we're seeing it on Game Pass as well.
Yeah. I got a question for Dreamcast Guy.
Let's hear it.
Dreamcast Guy, is there going to be a twerking simulator featuring you as the main protagonist on Game Pass?
No, I thought about it. I've been in some talks, but they told me that Kojima has a special stipulation that if they hire me, he gets to quit. So unfortunately, because you guys keep wanting the sequel to Death Stranding, which of course is called Paperclip Glue Simulator, unfortunately, I cannot join.
Paperclip to glue.
That's great.
So here, I want to change subject slightly here. I want to just talk on this. I don't want to spend too much time on it, but I want to go over the Outriders, the game itself, which we were streaming it earlier on the show here, showing. I've been playing a lot of it myself personally. But what do you guys think? Do you think that there's been a bit of a discrepancy online lately about the whole? They came out and said that the issues that they're having, the problems that are going on, the matchmaking problem. I mean, Brap is on PC. I'm on Xbox. Been trying to play. It's been very spotty, almost non-existent as far as crossplay, and that was one of their biggest selling points. And here they come out with an update the other day. They had another one today, but they had an update the other day, and they nerfed classes in the game, which was ridiculous because that's just not a typical move. So just a quick question: what do you guys think of the game? First and foremost, go ahead by all means.
Yeah, we talked about this a lot in the Brap DM and this week's Brap podcast, which went live Wednesday night 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Shameless plug. I got to be honest with you, like the nerfing makes no sense to me because this isn't a Yeah, it's a single player game. It's not a PvP type situation. It's not like Destiny with a Thorn, right? When the Thorn came out, it was OP and PvP. This is strictly PvE, and I don't understand it. Like, you have a lot of goodwill in the gaming community right now. People are having fun with these character classes. I've actually enjoyed this game a lot. I really do think that People Can Fly have something special here. You know, I said this, you know, on this week. I said, you know, if you asked me to assign a score to this game, I would have given it an 8 out of 10. It's a good game. It's not a great game,
right?
But it's better. It's certainly better than Anthem. Certainly better than Marvel's The Avengers. It's
low bars.
Yeah, it's a low bar.
Whoa.
Oh, Jay, come on in, Jay.
But they're on it. They have something here. The story's actually pretty good. There's good lore here. It scratches that sci-fi itch in video games, and the game is fun. Like, it takes an old formula and that cover-based like Gears type shooter, and it makes it fun by adding these anomaly elements, these special abilities with these different characters.
Well, the fast-paced healing is, I think, the real secret sauce.
Yeah, and that
you've got to be moving at all times, otherwise you're going to die. You know what I mean? It's just not.
Yes, exactly. And the AI is superb in this game. We were joking around on Brap. We were saying that the AI, they flank you, they flank the flanks. Like, it's really impressive what they've done with the AI. And I don't understand this move. I wish they would. I'd love to have them on Brap and be like, hey guys, why are you doing this? Like, it doesn't make sense. Maybe there's the rhyme or reason behind this. I don't see it.
Dude,
but I will say this.
I don't know why their game is like anchored on servers. You know what I'm saying? I don't know why.
Yeah, that's a great point. And
because they're probably doing crossplay. I mean, you want to be able to control the shooting and stuff. I mean,
well, I honestly, my honest theory is that that part of the reason the AI is smart is I think that even if they're not saying it, it may be some sort of cloud computing to some degree, that the AI is actually being run by them, and that's how they're smart or something. Because it seems like some extra secret sauce is in there. My problem is that it kind of feels like false advertising, because they kept saying this is not a games as a service project. This is a complete package, but it feels weird that I have to be connected to a server and now I can change my class. I'm a level 30 Technomancer. They just nerfed the shit out of me. And it's like, well, then why I'm not paying you a monthly fee. Why are you fucking with me?
Yeah,
that's
right.
Point. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. And that's the thing. That's the discouragement that I heard from a lot of gamers over the past couple of days. They're like, I've put a lot of time into this game, into this class, and now you've made that character completely, not useless, but much less useful. And that's not fair. I mean, myself personally, I happened to roll the dice and I picked the Pyromancer. And I'm sitting here going, I can't speak any shit, because to be honest with you, they probably will nerf that in the next patch,
at some
right?
Point in time.
Right. So it's just a matter of time. I don't know myself. Go ahead, Xbox.
They probably did that.
I don't understand. You know, coming from the Destiny 2 space and everything like that, you can understand. You know, from season to season with the PvP and stuff like that. There's certain weapons that get nerfed, others get kind of like boosted up, and they try to, like, you know, rebalance out the PvP and stuff. So when it comes to this game, basically, you know, co-op. There's no PvP in it or anything like that. I have no idea why they decided that they're gonna nerf characters, nerf abilities before they get in and really kind of do work on the whole server situation. Me, myself, I started playing it when it first came out, right? And the first day was fine. Second day, I started getting kind of like booted, and I don't get booted back to the main menu. I get booted to the dashboard. Like
so do I, Xbox.
All the way back.
Yeah.
And so I put it down. And the reason why I didn't have a big
problem
problem
with PC, Mooch.
The reason why I didn't have a big problem with putting it down is because I'm playing through Game Pass. So I'm like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Once they fix it, then I'll go in, I'll get some people and I'll start playing it again. I think the game is good.
You know, and it's funny, Xbox, do you mind if I just use, and this is not at all a jab at Xbox at all, but I hear it time and time again. Guys on the panel, please tell me if you've heard this a few times. You know, the game doesn't work. Game's okay. It's not really great. But it's in Game Pass.
Well,
like do you guys hear that a lot? I hear that a lot.
Here's the thing.
That scares me for the quality of games moving forward, though.
Well, this is something I've talked about with you know, my next podcast panel. Of course, next podcast every Thursday. Prime time. Oh man,
prime time.
So weird.
Prime.
Yeah. But,
great show, by the way.
something I've been
Thank you.
talking about is like I feel that when it comes to the Xbox side of this, I feel like there's a lot of Xbox gamers that are giving the whole server issue kind of like a pass. And I'm like, when it comes down to it, I can't play this game right now. Every time I try to play the game, I'll get in for like 5 minutes and I'll get booted out. And then I have friends on my Xbox Live. They're like, oh, you just got to hard reset the system. I'm like, I don't want to do that every time I get booted out. I'm just not going to play it right now. But I see so many people out there like, oh, this game is so good. And I'm like, well, what about all the issues? And if there are server issues going on like that, which I know firsthand, like, put that out there more than anything else. Like, yeah, I would like to play, but damn, I just can't play at all. And my friends can't play. I'm trying to get in with Xbot over here, and he keeps getting booted out. Yo, what's going on? People can fly. When are you going to fix the situation? I don't see any of that really.
Well, I mean, you have to look at the early days of like Destiny. How bad was that, right? Like, weren't there a bunch of issues, like different, like any game that's online enabled like that, where it's required the server? Even stuff like Sea of Thieves. Like Bluebeard, this, Longbeard, that. Like there were so many issues. Like they all suffer with this, and I think with the pandemic, the fact that there's literally been nothing coming out, and this is like a new thing. Like I think that it's overloaded. They weren't ready for it. I mean, to be quite honest with you, and I think, I mean, who knows whose fault it is? It's just you either have to bear with it or not. Like for me, I kept getting kicked. I stopped playing it for right now. You know?
Yeah. To Craft's point, to Craft's point about them being kind of overwhelmed. I think that's a great point, because it seems like if you look at the numbers, like the engagement numbers, at least on Steam, and Mooch, remember I was telling you should buy on PC because I haven't been kicked in the lobby on PC, by the way, FYI. It's like number 3. It's like in concurrent players. It's like there's it's Destiny number 1, Warframe, and then there's Outriders. So I think to an extent, maybe they didn't anticipate this level of engagement. Of concurrent, or this level of concurrent.
Game Pass day and date. Come on, bro.
Well, yeah, but that too. But even on PC, where you got to pay to play, it's number 3. Like that's pretty damn impressive. Considering you're up against.
Listen, I enjoy the game. I think it's a ton of fun, and the different style, the way that they change the play style in the game to how those mechanics work and how the actual health system works to it. And the AI that you'd mentioned earlier, like it's definitely invigorating. It's a lot of fun, but it's also frustrating because I've been kicked a number of times, more than a half a dozen times. And I know, but the problem with what it was, I made the decision last minute, and I know that there's slow-moing you out there on PC, but I was like, shout out to the great Punk Kiddish. I don't know if you saw part of my stream that I had on today's show that I was showing. Punk joined my game. But people jump in and out. Shout out to Predator H2O, who's here. Pred joined my game a bunch of times.
100%.
He did.
All achievements, all side quests, everything is done.
Props for him being able to stay in the game that long. Jeez.
Dude, I have no idea how he did that.
He played
a hard reset.
He played the hell out of it. I can tell you that
hard
much.
Reset like 20 billion times.
I gotta get.
Go
shout
ahead,
out
Jay.
To my man, I gotta get shout out to my man Mooch right here with this gameplay right here. I'm proud, Mooch.
Thank you.
I'm proud.
I had to come back.
Cancels.
I had to come back.
Slide cancels. Okay, I'm seeing that. The only thing I would like for you to do, when you hit those corners, you got an ADS, man. ADS a little bit higher, so you can aim torso up.
Yes,
you get kills much quicker. But everything, I'm with it. I'm with it.
I appreciate. I had to make up for that because last time Jay was here, I did not show him good gameplay from Godfall at all, and I apologize. That was my bad.
We gotta get some Warzone, man. We gotta get some Warzone.
Love Warzone. Did I play too much of this?
Listen, I used to be hardcore Call of Duty. I'm a COD head, but I despise the latest 2 entries of Call of Duty, so I just delete them.
Go. You play
Warzone has killed my COD core experience.
That's
Jay, that's the focus. I'm sorry.
Join us,
Jay. Warzone brought me back to COD, man.
It did.
I know. It's that's what I'm saying with you guys. Like, that's why I would love to hear you guys as a gamer perspective rather than the business. Like, Warzone is doing great for COD, but as a gamer, I hate it because it kills my core experience with COD. You know what I mean?
I can understand that.
For business, it's great for Activision. For a lot of people, they like that stuff. But to me, it's ruining Call of Duty, in my opinion.
No doubt.
No, I can respect that, Jay. I understand where you're coming from and maybe I want to see if I am actually understanding what you're saying. Are you saying that it's ruining Call of Duty for you because basically this is now the essence of what Call of Duty is, and the multiplayer and the single player have totally taken a side a side dish to this now, and that's what's kind of taking a bit of that steam
Mooch,
away?
Before I deleted Call of Duty, right?
Yes.
It was like a 30-something gig patch update.
Yes.
You know, I went over there, Treyarch, want to look at what's going on with the patch update. Everything was Warzone. I looked at the core multiplayer. It was like 2 things. I was like, yo, 30-something gigs for a mode that I'm not playing on my rare storage on the PlayStation 5. You got to get the hell up out of here. I'm sorry, you're deleted. I need my storage.
Yeah.
You're deleted.
Yeah, no, it's
out.
aggressive.
I love it.
Those patches, those updates are aggressive. Like Mooch, I know about this on PC, like 45 gig updates, and I'm like, what are you guys doing? Is this a new game?
Yeah.
Like, what are you updating?
I'll be honest with you, Brap, though. I
Yeah.
am getting that inkling, man, because I'm looking for that competitive multiplayer game, man. I might have to.
Join us, Jay. Seriously.
All right, we need that essence. We need your essence on Warzone.
Yeah, I go hardcore, man. I'm hardcore with.
No, believe me,
Let's go.
we are too, man. That's what I'm saying. I don't know. For some reason, that's kind of my release. Like, you have a lot of different times where you're playing different games and you want to get into a story, you want to get into this and that. But there's times where I want to. It's that old fashioned stuff we used to talk about back in the day, back in the 360 era, right? PS3 time. You'd say, I just want to pick up the controller. I want to play 2-3 like intense rounds and then put the controller down. I don't necessarily have too much time, but I can play a good 40 minutes, get 40 minutes in and out. There's no save. There's no this. It's just how you perform in and out of the game. Bam. And this scratches that itch for me. And it's I don't know. For some reason, I'm addicted to it. I'm not going to lie. And you know, I don't do the whole the microtransactions that much. This game's got me. And I got to play. Shout out to AKA Delirium Blades, who's got me. Dude, I have bought skins and packs because I just enjoy the game so much. I've got so many different characters and different guns and different blueprints. Like,
if you like a game, you support it.
I do.
I like hearing that.
I do.
I like hearing when people
I'm not going to mention on the air how much I put into this game. And put it this way, well over the $60 MSRP.
I have two, and I'm not a big like microtransactions guy, but this game, absolutely.
You're wailing it.
I'm wailing crap.
You are, man. You're spending all that money.
Mooch the whale. I love it.
That's what they want, man. That's what they want. They love it.
No, they won. They got me.
Yeah. Just like them damn skins on Fortnite, man. Hey, your kid always comes to you. Hey, can I?
Oh my god! My kid just bought one this week. Man.
I'm not going to talk about what the kids spend on Fortnite.
They do. Dude, the skins. It's like there's a new skin. I'm like, it's just a skin. It's just.
With the Outriders stuff though, do you think they nerfed? What character was it? The
Got nerfed into the ground.
It nerfed the who?
No, man. So it's the sniper class, and I think the reason they nerfed him is because that's what I beat the game as. And they nerfed him because you were supposed to be a sniper, but you could just run up in people's faces. It had like a damage leech, so I would like get shotguns that healed me and shit. Like, clearly the class didn't work right. I mean, I'll fully admit that they nerfed it because we were playing it wrong.
Oh, so it wasn't like
I was playing as a Technomancer, and then I was running up with like the assault rifles and stuff, and just mauling everybody.
Oh, so you think maybe so wait, are you crapping and DC? Are you guys alluding to possibly the nerf was something they found as a design flaw and they had to fix that because I
mean it was too strong, and it's definitely one of those not working as intended kind of things. The interesting thing to it though is fun. They probably saw that in beta. Like, something I've heard from game developers is that it's actually difficult to roll a patch out. So like, I bet this is one of those things that they were trying to do for a day one patch and they just couldn't. So it ended up being a week one patch. So we accidentally saw like the beta version of Technomancer that was too strong. So it sucks that my character was dramatically weakened, but it's also like, I mean, it's sort of the way games go sometimes.
Yeah. No, and like you say, go ahead, Brett.
I was gonna say, but I get that, but even then, like, people were having fun, you know, and it's like, you know, it's like, and did it really impact or lessen the game? I don't know. And not that I know anything about game design at all, but Brap, what if they, instead of nerfing, why not make the game a little bit more difficult? I don't know. Maybe. I mean, they could do that. I guess. I don't know. Maybe,
leave the players' customizations alone.
Yeah.
Leave everything alone,
or buff the other classes.
Yeah, because there's no PvP in the game.
Like a looter shooter games as a service type thing. Oh, why not, do this to the enemy AI? Why not, buff the other classes and stuff like that? Yeah. You guys don't even realize you're talking Destiny 2 talk right now.
No, you're 100% right, Xbox.
Developers were like, oh, we're not that. So if there was an issue.
So Xbox, let's talk about that though. Let's talk about that for a second. So in that sense, in that same frame of thought, have the developers kind of misspoke? Is this more of a games as a service? Because more and more people are saying that.
Well, see, it depends on what they're doing in the future. Now they can't go in and do kind of like the whole seasons and everything like that. They back themselves into a corner on this. So if they're fine with not making as much money as possible on this IP, then what you might see in the future is like paid DLC, story expansion that way, stuff like that, ways to, kind of get revenue going again and such, but not really having kind of like that season pass system and that like constant kind of like content drop, but going back into like the traditional PS3 360 era when it came to DLCs. Like I could see them doing something like that. I think they would do something like that. I am really hard pressed to believe that this is it when it comes to this game, unless they make a sequel. I think there's going to be some type of content, but they got to be very careful with what they said, because they kind of shot themselves in the foot.
Yeah.
They tried to be different and say, oh no, we're not doing this. But when in all reality, people who have played this game might all of a sudden start craving that kind of like content stream to come in. I think that's something that the evolution of gaming, for today's standards, a lot more people are into games that have content coming in month after month and such. And I think they might have backed themselves into a corner, but no, more traditional DLC, man.
So two things real quick that I want to, which is your point right there, and a point that was brought up earlier. I do think that 100%, I think we're probably going to get a $20 DLC in 6 months. I think it's probably going to be an extra set of story missions and a new class. That way it's like, hey, here's a reason to start playing from the beginning.
Yep.
And here's incentive to come back with the characters you already have. And something else that I think people aren't talking about, but I've heard developers kind of murmur here and there, is that sometimes they'll purposely have day one problems, because basically spinning up new servers, actually getting stuff up and running on crazy capacity is super expensive. So a lot of times what they'll do is they'll be like, all right, we have the player capacity for 300,000 concurrents, and we're thinking we'll probably be at 500,000 or 1 million for the first couple days. So servers will crash for a couple days, and then everything will be great. Everything we've already established, all the servers we have paid for, like we're not going outside our budget. So it's the thing of they got to be like, oh no, the dumpster's on fire. I didn't know that I poured all that gasoline in it last week. But it's cheaper for them. So they have to pretend to be like, oh, thanks for all the support. It was just more than we ever could have imagined. But it's just a budget cut.
Yo, Dreamcast guy, that is amazing you say that, because if you watch their Twitter handle and kind of like their reactions and stuff, there are people out there kind of cheering them on for kind of like what I feel is like smoke and mirrors. Like the people will talk to them about server issues, and all of a sudden they get to a point down in the thread where they're rating like people's animals at home and stuff. Like they really like swing it the opposite direction and start talking about other things with the community. So it's amazing that you say it, because I can definitely see that going on, bro.
Question: Did not like Outriders?
I mean, it's also the shitty thing is that as much as that sucks that a lot of people, the person I beat the game with, actually, in my review, I beat the entire game with a guy who just happened to be in New Zealand when I got my review code, and he took the entire week off to play the game, and he was able to play it for that first day when we beat it, and the rest of his week off, he just sat there staring at the start screen. Like, it screwed those people over. But in the long term, like, most people aren't going to remember these launch woes in a month.
That's a good point too. We all have short-term memory. That's for damn sure.
Look at how quickly people just forgot all about the stuff with Destiny.
Exactly.
We love Destiny,
right? Hey, same thing you gave with Sea of Thieves, Destiny. All of these.
2 is a great game, bro.
I'm curious if I'm the only one on,
go ahead,
on
Nova.
the panel who didn't actually like Outriders. I got to level 11.
Really?
Other 2 guys on my podcast love the game. They think I'm fraudulent. Actually, on my channel, we did the first stream with the podcast guys, and it was Outriders, and I got past the demo portion, and to be honest, and I know I'm alone in this opinion, but the gameplay loop seemed pretty boring to me. The environment reminded me a lot of Destiny 1, especially the Cosmodrome and all that. But I'm gonna give it a second shot, because everyone tells me after I get past level 15, it starts to open up. I get access to more skills, but honestly, I'm.
The only thing about it that I would agree with you there, Nova, listen, not every game's for everybody, so I respect your opinion there. I just think that the one thing that gets me is like, when you're like, I'm playing with a buddy, we're just going through, and it's like you're talking, you're in this everything's kind of very linear, and then you turn a corner and you see the little bunkers with all the spots you can kind of take cover, which even though it's not a cover game, there's all that cover you could take, and you're like, oh, here comes a fight. You know what I mean? It's like, I wish it wasn't so everything just seems extremely predictable, but the one thing that makes it so much fun is the amount of just high volume action, and you've got to keep moving, and I like that. That's something unique. We haven't either had a game like that in a very long time that I can remember, and I think that's what makes the game so appealing to so many different gamers.
Nova, when it comes down to it, man, like if I had to give a number to this game, I would give it a 7. All right.
I think that's fair.
I feel
fair.
like this game is a product of perfect timing when it comes down to it. Like their marketing was really good as well.
If this game came out in May, it would get squashed.
Yeah, when
you would give it a 7
with
with
not
the
a game
launch
service. That right there.
Jay, you think that's too high?
A lot of people. What happened?
Yes.
Jay, you think that's too high?
I mean, but Xbox played the game, and I'm just looking at what I'm seeing people complain about the game, the launch issues. To me, that's a huge issue for me. Like, you can't play the game, people can't do co-op or stuff like that. My persona, he's in the chat. He's fighting a boss. The game would just back him all the way out because the servers are bad. He got to do the whole thing over again.
I was talking about the gameplay.
That's true.
Like when you actually get in, like I would give it a 7. Now there would be definite deductions from me when it comes to like server issues and not being able to play. But like actually playing the game, getting in, getting like your random drops, picking up your loot, kind of like fixing up your equipment and stuff like that. The gameplay wise, I would give it a 7. I just think it is a product of perfect timing and also captivating kind of like one platform's community with going like day and date into their subscription service as well. Also created a lot of hype on that platform. And I think it's just a product of perfect timing that, it's just gotten everybody to talk about this game, try this game out. Outriders has been in the community social media ever since the launch of the game.
Yeah. I got a quick question. So people are talking about, at least on the panel, are talking about being booted from like boss fights. I haven't. I'm not saying that's not an issue.
Sucks, by the way.
Yeah, that does suck. I haven't experienced that on the PC version. Has it also been happening to PC for some people, or is it more regulated to like the consoles?
I hear it's across all platforms, bro.
That's what I've heard that as well. I thought it was across all platforms.
All platforms.
But
so like everybody's having issues. And again, like my biggest thing about it is when it comes down to it, I don't see a lot of PlayStation guys necessarily talking about the game too much. I don't know. It could be just the demographic I'm in on social media. But when it comes to the Xbox guys, I understand day and date and Game Pass is a really it's an awesome thing. But guys, we can't be so soft when it comes to like our friends not being able to play the game. If you got to play the game and beat it, shout out to you, man. But like I know me and a lot of other people out there, we've been trying to play the game. We keep getting kicked out, and we finally said, you know what? We're just gonna wait until they fix this thing, man.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that is possibly what it is. I just think a lot of people were really upset to see that there was a lot of these woes, all these woes that we're talking about right now, everything that Jay just said, everything that DC just said, Xbot, crap, everyone's mentioned Nova, that's things that are even bugging him and his friends that are playing online, and they chose to nerf instead of fixing these issues. And I think that's really got the community in a bit of an uproar. I have a bunch of super chats here, and I do want to ask one more question to the panel before we wrap up for this evening. So let me just do a quick shout out to Andy Hart, who's back. He says, if I can get VR from Xbox, even support for my Quest 2 on my Series S, then I'm golden. I think a lot of people feel that way, Andy.
You're
a lot
not
of people
going to be golden.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to be golden. I think a lot of people feel the way you feel, but Crap's right. I don't think you're going to get that support, not anytime in the near future. Dead Planet, he says, we've said Xbox doesn't have a game until November. What we're not factoring in is every third-party game Xbox throws in Game Pass becomes one in a way. Well, I mean, you can definitely put a book cover on top of something, Dead Planet. But I mean, what we're talking about more than likely is the first party games. I think, But yes, I understand.
It's been like you got to, when it comes down to it, you look at the marketing and stuff, and me, like I have thrown Aaron Greenberg under the bus. I have asked for his job. By the way, Xbox, you can email me about that. I will fill out the application. I will definitely.
It's gonna take all those vacations every week.
When it comes to like. They're catching momentum here when it comes to Game Pass and kind of like the games that are being put in there. And,
Twitter's a Game Pass advertisement.
And I've said this on next podcast. I'm like, they're doing all of this and they haven't dropped any first party yet, which is kind of, you got to sit back and at least when it comes to like the business side of everything, you got to look and be like, damn, like they're gaining momentum here and they haven't released anything first party. Since
It's almost like releasing dollar deals and Pop-Tart deals is paying off, huh?
Yeah.
Well, Pop-Tarts are good marketing, man. A lot of people see that.
Cheez-Its are even better.
Mooch, you a Cheez-It fan?
Yeah, why not? You too, Jay? Jay's like, hell yeah.
Yo, one of these days, listen. Don't think I'm weird, Mooch, but one of these days I'm taking you out for a beer, man.
That's my man right there, Jay. Yeah. Absolutely, man.
We're going for a brewski.
That's my man right there, Jay. New York built, baby. Absolutely, we're doing that.
Sir.
Speaking of New York built, my boy Royal Boyle 78's in here. He's another New Yorker. He's a big Met fan. He says, Mooch, what's good, my brother? He says, what's good? Crossfire panel chat. Just dropping through to show my support. Royal Boyle, thank you very much. Also spending unbelievable amounts of positive energy on Twitter every day. Shout out to Royal Boyle. MexJ88, Mooch Maniac family member, he says, oh, look, I guess Outriders did learn from Destiny. Hashtag mooching. Not bad there. Andy Hart's back. He says, Outriders is okay. Heard it's a Square Enix problem. Servers, not people can fly, they said. So I'm not sure about that, Andy. I believe you're right. I think that is a Square issue. And then TrueWiddy, Mooch Maniac family member as well. He says, all this work in my Techromancer, and it's weak now. I think a lot of people feel that way. But yeah, man, I got to be honest with you. I got to ask you guys a question. I'll start with the great Jay Bari. Jay, what is your take on the virtual E3 2021? And my part B to that question is E3 ever going to get back to what we call normal, or is this the new normal?
Yeah, I think this is going to be one of the new normals. I personally believe that there's still a lot of interest in people wanting to meet up. There's nothing can beat that feeling of like meeting up with other people that's like-minded with you as a gamer.
That's right.
And just communicating and talking and playing games with people, right? Nothing will beat that. Same thing with like any event that outside of E3. It could be PAX East or something like that. Nothing will beat those experiences, but convenience is a hell of a drug. And now people have tasted that convenience that, I can soak everything up here. I don't have to pay all this money. I can save my money. It's also convenient for the the publishers or the developers. They can have these virtual events, and it's more cost efficient. I think E3 will change going forward. I personally like the E3. I like kind of looking at that stuff, people conjugating it. I like hearing those stories and all that stuff, but it's times. I think times are going to change. No different than the movies.
Yeah,
I love the movie experience, but hey, I'm not going to be mad kicking down my recliner and watching HBO Max.
I know, right? Yeah, we got Mortal Kombat coming to HBO Max this very month.
Movie theaters will recover, though. I bet.
I think so too. Crap. I think movie theaters will recover to a certain extent.
I mean, what that made a few $100 million. I mean, there's people still want to go to the movies and stuff. I mean, that's like saying people got used to no sports, no fans at sports, and that's bullshit. As soon as it's all open and you can pack as many people as you can, they're going to do that again, and they're going to go back. It's going to be.
I think theaters will rebound.
Next year E3 will be open up like it has been previously. The problem that I have with the current E3s are the quality of them is shit. Right, you get like stuff produced by Mooch and Crab. You know what I mean? It's like bad cameras, shitty gameplay. You need that really good, and you need that audience reaction, that fan. Woo, yeah.
Yeah, you do need it. You do.
Like you need that, right? Like let's just be real. There's very little to really get excited about when we see. I mean, we do because we do live reactions or whatever.
Yeah.
But I feel like these companies need that and kind of rely on that. The big shocking moments and stuff like that. The quality has just been so bad that we've been getting late. Like, man, I can't wait for them to be done with that stuff. You know, I want it to go back to E3 where there's like one show after another and the people and the all day coverage and all that shit. Like that's what I'm looking for. You know what I mean? Like
I think we all need that, right?
Last year was absolutely horrible.
It was bad.
Horrible. It came to like, you know, shows and showing games and stuff like that. So I'm glad, even if it's digital, like they said it's going to be this year. I'm glad that they're coming back and they're consolidating it around. And you know what's funny about this is a lot of people talk about, you know, what was it? Bethesda was doing their own show kind of like the night before E3, and you know, Nintendo they did their whole thing digitally. They didn't show up there for their show. They had booths and stuff there, but they didn't show up for their show. So people are like, well, you know, is this the end of E3? One thing you got to realize is no matter what, these people, even if they weren't at E3, they were around E3. Like that E3 name, like you had, you know, Xbox going in on Sunday. You had Bethesda going in on Sunday when E3 was Monday. They didn't branch themselves out away from E3. So E3 is still kind of like a hook that'll grab gamers, bring them into, you know, watch shows and stuff like that. And I agree with Crap. Like, not this year, but next year, once it's all opened up, you're going to have the boosts back. You're going to have, you know, the gamers in there. You're going to have the developers, the publishers, everybody in there. You are going to have shows around E3 as well, but they're not going to branch off like past that. You know, they're not going to start going that third Sunday away from E3 and doing their show then. No, they still know the importance of that name. And they try to be as close to it, but they also try to control their own show more. So they'll put it at like that Sunday or something like that. That's what they're doing. They're not completely getting away from E3. Yeah.
What I'm most excited about this E3 from Xbox is I hear it's going to be the biggest and best E3 they've ever done. So
that's new. That's new.
We've never heard that from them before, and why would they lie?
Why?
So, no reason to. Yeah, exactly.
Well, let me ask
it's going to be great.
The man in Texas himself, like DC, have you been to an E3, A, and B, will you be going back to one when things kind of resume, hopefully next year?
I've never been. It was actually a big life goal of mine to go someday, and now I'm big enough of a YouTuber that I probably could have gone, but I don't think I'm going to do it. I'm a huge lover of in-person events. I go to PAX. I go to conventions all the time to, you know, shake hands with the fans and see games and stuff. But E3, it's always been so unique because it's about the games. It's not about the YouTubers. It's not about the cringe. It's just about showing off the games, you know. And I am sad that it's going all digital. But some of the leaked numbers as to like Sony spending like 10 million on a like hour-long press conference and stuff, like it was ridiculous. It had to go. It had to go.
Interesting. So you think the virtual way that we are going to consume it may be the future?
Yeah, I mean, just because it's so much cheaper. I mean,
I hope they up the game with production values. Then Jesus.
Well, I mean, like if you're not having to have like a live symphony and a gigantic stage that looks like a paperclip or whatever, you know, people are going to be much more willing to show a like. Imagine, like, my biggest thing has always been I love gameplay demos, but specifically, I love when those times like. I love Halo 5, but the Halo 5 reveal where they actually came out on stage and played an entire mission co-op, that's incredibly effective.
I used to love that they'd start off every E3 with like a Call of Duty demo or a Halo demo, and you know, I love that. I love that. That was so awesome to me.
And it works.
Now they don't do that.
They haven't done that for years, and I feel like maybe if we go back to live stream, maybe they'll be more willing to do that. Of like, all right, now if we don't have to worry about broadcasting it at 18K on the gigantic screen and live streaming it, maybe if now we're just it'll be compressed visuals through a live stream feed, but maybe they'll be more willing to show in-process games.
I think that I really like what Crap said. If you're going to go ahead and do that and save those millions upon millions of dollars, put a little more money into the production run, huh? I mean, what the hell's going on out there? It's really, 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 like, State of Plays could definitely get a little bit more, I would say, I don't know, because they don't have like actors and actresses. And Microsoft, if you're doing anything like inside Xbox again, like hire professional actors. You know what I mean? You got to have
release the Spencer cut.
Really?
Wow.
15 extra minutes of indie game reveals and Phil Spencer saying Game Pass.
Crap is a wild boy.
At a different
Hey,
angle.
DJ. Oh.
At a different angle, right? Game Pass. Now turn to the left. Game Pass. To the right.
Game
Turn on-
Pass.
Now turn up. Look slightly up and put your hand under your chin. Game Pass. That's the Phil Spencer cut right
Hey,
there.
yeah, you know what, too, man? I gotta
Hashtag
give
it.
it to Xbox when it comes to Game Pass, man. They are covering a lot of the Xbox flaws with Game Pass. Because I see
It's
no
a big
one talking
Band-Aid.
about. Nobody's talking about the fact they bought a console and not having a first party exclusive to show for it
It's amazing.
within the first year is wild to me. But
It's amazing.
they are pumped. They're doing some great jobs with Game Pass. The deals that they're getting.
Yep.
It's like people don't like what first party. We don't give a fuck.
They
about
also
that,
got
man. Yo,
they've also got the entire media and everybody not talking about that. And not only are they not talking about no first party games for what seemingly almost 14 months after a console launches, or 12 months at least, they also have the way to get everybody to get anti-Sony. It's been absolutely. I think this is actually this some sort of a deal that was cut with the devil here. I don't know how they did it, but God, whoever did it over there is a genius, an absolute
they're doing
marketing
great, man.
genius. I don't know how they did it. I really don't. So, guys, outstanding show tonight. I've kept everybody here well after the 9 o'clock hour. I gotta
Hey,
just
Mooch,
say,
you have to
Oh,
do
go
my
ahead,
outro first.
absolutely,
Just because I
crap.
gotta get
I know.
going. I gotta
you know,
go.
I got a little bit last week. You said till almost 9:20. I couldn't believe it. I said maybe crap is now extending the
I wasn't
crossfire
getting
hours.
bugged.
So, all right,
Yeah,
I will start.
I wasn't getting bothered. That's why.
I will say no problem. I will definitely do yours first. I want to say thanks to everybody here. Shout out to the great Marty Bison, by the way, who became a VIP Mooch Maniac member. Guys, that is that join button right above the description. Please do consider that. Hit the like button. Guys, tweet it out. Let everybody know that you were here tonight. How great the show was. And when you want to, the symbol for tonight will be paperclip and glue. That being said, let me just say
Can't
this
wait
much.
to see that live on stage.
Okay, me too. Crap.
E3.
Shout out to the
Spencer
great
Cup.
Crap Gamer,
Look
the
for it.
man himself. We will be back on M&C this Sunday. Crap Gamer, let them know where they can find you, buddy, and thanks for being here tonight.
Crap Gamer Reviews. I appreciate each and every one of you. I gotta go, but make sure you guys subscribe and give him some likes. Not even 100 likes.
I know.
You should be ashamed of yourselves.
Please.
like the video. We'll catch you guys later, man.
Thanks, Crap.
Thanks for having
Appreciate that, buddy. Outstanding. That's Crap Gamer Reviews and at @the_Crap Gamer on Twitter. And then, I want to go to our special guest here, Dreamcast guy. DC, honestly, love having you here, buddy. I got to be honest with you. You're definitely the special guest, but it just feels so comfortable having you on the show, man. You contribute. You know what's going on. And I got to be honest with you. As much as I love having you on the panel, I'm a huge fan of your show. I love the channel. Don't ever stop what you're doing. That being said, let people know where they can find you. And thank you so much for being here tonight.
Always happy to be here. I mean, Mooch, I definitely consider you a friend.
Thank
you know my PlayStation 5 video so much, even though
Yes.
it was a couple months ago. I don't know. You're a good, true friend. I'm always happy to be here because it is just bros chilling out. If
Thank
anybody wants
you.
to see my content, I've been doing way more reviews lately, and those are super fun. Just youtube.com/Dreamcast guy. If it's an interesting game and typically has a leveling system, I'm probably going to make a 22-minute video about it. So go subscribe.
Yes. I like that. That's encouraging talk right there. I love it. And then
Games Pass.
Games Pass, please.
Pass.
Yes, love it. We got to patent that. The great Jay Barry was here tonight too. Jay, a fellow New Yorker, he knows. Mooch. He knows Mooch. He just does. He gets me. He gets the channel. And it's funny, Jay, because I wish we got a chance to hang out years and years ago. But guess what? The future is bright. That being said, Jay Barry, it is outstanding having you here tonight, buddy. Thanks for everything that you do in the community as well, staying positive, keeping people informed on the PlayStation side, mainly, but you just talk to gamers in general. Let people know where they can find you. And I also want to give a shout out real quick to Persona, who does podcasts with you. And let me just say, outstanding to have him here and his support as well.
Yeah, man. Jay Barry, I appreciate the invite once again. Mooch, is always a pleasure being on here. Respect everybody's opinions, by the way. Don't mind me if my list goes up. I go a little crazy. That's just me. But nah, man. You can find me on Twitter on JBarry_ on Twitter. Don't follow me if you're a little bit sensitive. There's times where I might do like a tweet that might bother you. So I'm just letting you know, okay? But yeah, What's Up PlayStation podcast every Saturday, 11 a.m. Eastern time. Just a strictly PlayStation podcast where I'm pretty sure we're gonna be talking about this again.
Yes.
So it's gonna be a good one, man. But I appreciate the invite, guys.
Always, Jay. Thank you so much. I appreciate you being here. And then I've got my buddy here, Xbot448. Xbot, I got to be honest with you. Started out real fiery. A lot of spicy coming out of the Xbot448. Guess what? At the end, we always find a common ground. That's what's fantastic about the great CrossFire. Xbox, outstanding. Just outstanding to have you here tonight, buddy. You had an outstanding show yesterday. Listen, the next podcast is fantastic. Love the panel members. Let people know where they can find you and that show.
Nice. Thank you, brother. And as always, I love when I have Fridays off and I'm able to be here for the entire show, man. It was a lot of fun tonight. I like kicking it with Jay Barry, man. It's funny. We go back to like Facebook days and stuff like that. I was an admin for Next Gen's Bang Bang over there,
That's
man.
awesome.
And we used to go at it, but it was all fun. It was all fun, bro. But
absolutely,
dude, I have a YouTube channel. If you like the common sense that I talk, guys, I talk that common sense. If you like that, go on over to my YouTube channel, Xbot448, and go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Check out the 2 podcasts that I do have on that channel. It is the next podcast, which is every Thursday, 8 p.m. And of course, that is prime time, baby. Not only that, I do the Series X podcast every other Sunday with my brother, Jamie Moran, aka the Elusive Gamer. It is all things Xbox, and it's not comparing to other platforms. It's not console wars. It's just Xbox news, Xbox entertainment, Xbox criticism. We get into it all on that show. So definitely go over there and subscribe. And I'm probably going to be late next Friday, but dude, I am going to race home this coming Friday to be on CrossFire again.
Listen, man, late is fine, but as long as you're here, Xbox, just, the CrossFire is just not the same without you, buddy. Outstanding to have you here. And thank you, Xbox. I appreciate that. I want to do a couple of quick plugs here. Shout out to the great gaming Forte. Forte had to leave early, but Forte did stop by, left from work, definitely swung by the show, had to leave early. But I want to say, check out his podcast that he does with Slow Mo Backslap, DPS podcast, also on Thursday nights. I believe 9 p.m. Eastern is their start time. But check out gaming_Forte on Twitter. And then, of course, we've got Brap, Basement Radio Arcade Podcast, who had to leave early as well. These guys told me this ahead of time, and I was just grateful to have them for the time that we did. That's Basement Radio Arcade Podcast.
My name so quickly, bro.
Right? You're like, where the hell did everybody go? No, Brap has it's a family function, good thing. He's going to definitely the party tonight. I hope he enjoys himself. That's Brap_podcast on Twitter, and Brap is every Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern time. That being said, guys, I want to thank everybody again. I want to thank everybody for the super chats. I want to thank all the Mooch Maniac family members, and I want to thank every single one of you on the panel. Guys, we'll be back next Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern time. We are going to be doing M&C mornings, 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. The great Nova, wait, Nova, I thought you left too. Nova Insomniacs. Yeah. No, I was just going to do a plug for you while I was doing the plug for Nova. Do me a personal favor. Take an extra 5 minutes and just tell them everything about you so that they never forget you again.
I'll keep it short and sweet. So every Thursday, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern, we do the Insomniacs podcast on my channel, youtube.com/Nova Insomniac with my boys C $ and Cool Hand Cruz. It's always a great time. Mooch, again, thank you for bringing me on the show again. It's always cool to talk gaming. And also Sunday, 11:45 or 11:30, whenever we do it.
Whenever we do it.
Eastern time, we do the M&C show. I produce over there with the great Mooch and Crap Gamer. So yeah, check us out every Sunday.
Yo, Nova, outstanding, man. Let me tell you guys just a quick little story about Nova. Nova's just one of the most helpful people in the community. You need anything, the man is always there. Nova, if I can ever do anything for you, let me know, buddy. Honestly, just fantastic to have you on the show. I'm looking so forward to Sunday. Love having that coffee. We get a chance to chime in, BS, bullshit together about games. We will be there this Sunday, 11:30, maybe 11:45 a.m. Eastern time. But the great Nova, our producer, I appreciate that, and the great Crap Gamer. We'll see you guys back here next Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern time on this channel. Peace out. Enjoy your weekend and enjoy a game or two. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Games Pass.
Games Pass. Yeah,